I made a shocking discovery today when I was hanging out over at MEUK's Discord server.
Are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Well, are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Well, did you hear what I said? It's all about...
Been in a meeting. No.
Okay.
I can breathe again.
No, you can't, Cleary. He hasn't got his list
Oh.
of contacts.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he's not been doing that. He's been in the meeting.
It's that urgent. You should look for it yourself.
No, it's not that urgent. I mean, we've been
Well,
waiting
list
for
of
contacts.
quite a while.
Don't hold your breath.
How can we look for your list of contacts?
I don't have a list. I have to find somebody. And I think you can do that.
Oh,
Yourself.
so you don't actually know anybody who's measured the curve then? So that is contrary to your claim earlier.
No, I never said I knew anybody personally.
You said you had the names of people who have measured the curve.
I said I can find them.
You said you had them.
Then I said something wrong at that point. I
And
think I
are
don't-
you
didn't say
struggling
that.
to find them now?
As I said, you guys are being assholes now because I have been in a meeting.
No,
Stop being shitheads.
no. I'm just saying, like we've been trying to find somebody that's measured the curve for quite a while, and we've not managed to find anyone.
Have you called them and asked them?
Well,
Called who?
we know that surveyors can measure a lump in the land. We do know that.
Okay, so that's what they're gonna measure.
Yeah, well, we know how to do that. That's how surveying happens, right? That we do know that. Changing elevation means there's a slope or something we can plot.
Yeah, but if you have the over long distance,
Yeah.
if you have the
The water level, there's the test. Yeah, a horizontal.
if you have the surface dropping all the time, it's something else.
Hey, Funk, I've got just a quick question for you. Do you actually think that curvature can be measured?
Yes, I think so.
You
You can.
you think curvature can be measured?
Yes.
Do you think you can measure curvature using surveying tools?
Yes.
This is measure curvature.
But when you say measure curvature, you mean actually measuring indefinitely small increments of curvature.
No, you are the one that is claiming that curvature is being measured. So don't ask me to
defining it.
Don't ask me to define your claim for you.
Okay, then I'm going to define
I
it.
am asking you if you think that planar surveying tools can be used to measure curvature.
Yeah, so then I'm going to define what I mean by that. So when I say you can measure curvature, by that I'm saying that you can do incrementally discrete measurements. And when you measure every increment...
Sorry, what's a discrete measurement, please?
It's
Can we
point
look that up?
measurements.
Can we look that up?
Point measurement.
Do you reckon,
Point
how many
measurements.
searches do you reckon will come up with that?
Point measurements. Instead of... it's not a continuous measurement. It's point measurements.
So you're saying the point's curve now?
Point?
No, but if you let me finish
Are you
my
saying
explanation.
we measure a point?
If you calm down a little bit, and I can explain.
Nobody's agitated. Nobody's
No, you're
calming down.
interrupting and asking me new
No,
questions
we're just
before
asking
I
you to
finished.
clarify what you're
Yeah,
talking
then
about.
I need to be able to speak without being interrupted. So in this, if you do in discrete measurements, a lot of them, and each point is curving away, you got in my mind, you have two hypotheses. Either it's it's basically a flat point between those two. Between those 2 point measurements, you could say that. Or you could say that it's curved, because when you do a measurement in between them, you also see a difference. So then you might
your
ask
mind.
yourself. So then you might ask yourself, a nice straw man. So if you're then you might ask yourself, well, at what point won't I see any difference? Is there actually this edginess to what level actually is, or is it actually a continuous curve? And that's why people think it's a continuous curve, because no matter what resolution you choose to measure this, you always see a difference.
You see
Well, you
that
do
in
know-
It's no edge. It's actually no edge.
it's a discrete
you can-
discrete measure when you look it up on Wiki and all that. Seems to be a straight line. Right?
You're fucking. You're such a moron, Bev.
Is that not?
Oi,
Is that not
there's
what it
no
looks
need for that,
like?
is there? Bev has not been ad homing you in any way, and Bev is far from a moron. If you don't like it, don't fucking come here. But we don't need that kind of attitude from you. All right?
Calm down.
No, I'm not going to calm down.
I know. I
You
googled
stop
discrete.
ad homing Bev.
I googled discrete, and it says individual, separate, and distinct.
And you do
Yeah.
realise that the relationship between each point that is measured is linear.
Yeah, I never said anything else.
Well,
Where's the
it's a
curve?
linear relationship. Where's your curve?
I told you how you would
No, how you
Infer
would
a-
make it up.
infer
is
a
what
curve.
you said. Yeah, you infer a curve. You've just
Yeah.
made your curve up.
Yeah.
You have not measured a curve. The relationship between each point is linear. You're just pretending your curve.
Well, if
That's all you can do.
if you can't measure a curve, you can only use what tools you have, right?
Thank you. You can't measure a curve.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the
Yeah, but you
initial
can
point. Well
infer-
done. Thanks.
Can infer it because of the measurements still.
No, your measurements are linear. The relationship between each measured point is linear. There is
I know
no
that.
curve.
That doesn't mean it's no curve, just because your
You
instruments
cannot
have limitations.
measure the curve.
I
Fine.
know, but that's different
Thank you.
than saying there
You
is no
know.
curve.
You know.
Primate, you
cannot
said-
measure
Primate.
the curve. Thank you.
Primate,
knows.
you said
He knows
you
you
said there is no curve. Primate,
you said
there is no curve.
No,
When you
he
measured points.
didn't.
Yes, it did. Rewind 30 seconds and listen to him.
Yeah.
It's a
There is
very
no
important
curve
distinction.
between your measured points.
That's now you just said it again. There is no curve. That's the difference between what you can measure, because your instruments have limitations.
So
It
you
doesn't mean that
can't
that's-
measure a curve. Are we agreed?
Yes, I said that,
Exactly.
Thank you.
but that doesn't mean there isn't a curve.
Between your measured points, there isn't. It's linear.
You measure you can't measure this curve with indefinitely small increments. I'm aware
how
of
can
that.
you measure
It's
it
the
then? So how do you
feasibility.
know
It's
How do you know it's there? then?
can't measure that. You have discrete measurements.
You can't measure it.
So it depends on how many discrete points you want. When would you
Embrace-
consider it's a curve?
Embrace the tilt.
If you measure it, I would ask you guys, if you measure every millimeter and you see would you say that it's tilting for every millimeter? Then it's not a curve still.
Hey, Funk, you would agree that two straight lines
Uh,
cannot share a common line segment, right?
I'm not gonna answer that because you guys just completely disregarded my question.
So say your question again.
I said if you're measuring every millimeter, for every millimeter, you're measuring a tiny tilt. If you do a measurement every millimeter and you measure a tilt between them, would you consider that a curve, or would you consider that a straight line between each millimeter?
That's a bit like the water level with you, Bev, where you got 60 and 100. 0.7 of an inch, wasn't it? So if you had 16 of them and added up 16.7, would that be the same amount of drop as 16 meters
Yeah.
curvature calculation?
You were dropping out a lot.
Breaking
I
up.
didn't hear that.
Right. What he was saying was that if you have a water level and you imagine a tilt over 100 meters, were you here for that?
If it wasn't spoken when I was here, then no. I was.
Okay, so
Probably was
if you
there.
have a water level of 100 meters, there is a tilt, you imagine, right? Because we've lost the curve because you've only got two ends. Now, do you imagine that they're horizontal line, or do you imagine that there is a drop at one end of it from the horizontal? I know it's only 100 meters. But if we could get somebody else to do the maths that we might imagine already, right? But
100 meters is when we use the word drop. That's in relation to a horizontal line from that point. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you're imagining there is a drop away from the horizontal.
No, it's measured to be a drop.
It's measured. You don't
I don't
know.
think,
You've not given us a name for anybody that has measured it, but you've claimed it is measured, right? So if you get that drop, and can you imagine what that number might be of that drop?
I don't know the distance.
Has nobody told you 100 meters is the distance?
I don't know.
You don't
Can
know
calculate.
the amount of drop. Do you know how to calculate it?
Yes.
Okay, so you'd have to
There's a
calculate
formula.
it because there isn't somebody that has measured it, or like you just claimed
No,
before,
that's-
somebody has measured it.
It's a hypothesis for how to figure out the size of the Earth.
Okay, right. So let's say somebody who has calculated it to be 0.7 of a millimeter over 100 meters. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Slice Barkane has a water level test where he has 16 100 meter water levels stacked up again next to each other all the way along. Right? So he has 16, but you say the drop is calculated at 0.7 from one end of the water level to the next end. But that happens
Yes, that's-
16 times. So when you add 16 of those 0.7 millimeters up, do you know what you get?
Okay, so from what
It's a quick
point are you
bit of
measuring
maths,
it?
about 11 millimeters. 11.2, I think somebody said.
Yeah, but that's not how it. I think
But
you did.
that's each water level, though. We've done the calculations for each water level, because each one of these water levels that Slice Barkane has, they are individual 100 meter water levels.
Yeah, but to the reason why you added them together.
Because that's what the
But
drop
do you
is, the
think-
calculated drop from one
But
end
you-
of the water
But
level
do you?
to the other end of the water level. 0.7
Yeah, but, when
of
you
a
said-
millimeter. 16 of them.
When you add, oh my God, Bev. I'm gonna ask you a question, Bev, if you let me. So in this test or whatever you explain now, you had 16 individual water levels. When you added them together, are you saying that the drop from the beginning of the first water level to the end of the last water level, that you can just add them together?
They're saying the calculated drop that we just worked out earlier is 0.7. That's your calculated drop.
Yeah, from one point to another.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from one end of the water level to the next end, to the other end of it, right? Because they're only 100 meters, right? And then
Yeah.
you start with another water level, like a completely different water level, and you go 100 meters with that one. This is Sly Sparkane's test. This is
Yes.
Sly Sparkane's bending water test.
Yeah, but when you're doing the next one and you're moving to the next water and
another
you're
completely
moving your,
different individual water level.
then that drop would be the same.
Yeah,
That's
it would
correct.
be a load of 0.7s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the second one would be, what's that like? So, so in the 200 meters would be 1.4 millimeters.
No, that's where you're wrong, because it's not a linear relationship, is it? It's a
It
square
is, it's
one.
between the 2 points, from one end of a water level to the
No,
next end. Of the
You
water.
guys
I
agree?
didn't think-
It's not
I
a.
didn't
It's
think
not
we,
a.
No, I don't think
You're
you understand.
adding them together. You're adding them together
Because
from
they're two
the first one to
separate
the last
water
one.
levels. They are two separate water levels. Do you know how to do maths?
Yeah, but when you said it's 200 meters.
Yeah, but it's
one of-
because
one
there's
of you guys
two
said that.
100-meter water levels. Yeah.
Yes, but when you're if you are measuring it individually, then you're gonna measure this 0.7, I don't know, millimeter. You said 0.7 millimeter drop. But if you're measuring from the first one to the last,
Listen, you just measured. You put in measure there, right? It's a calculation.
or calculation, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're going to calculate from the first one,
Yeah, it's a plus
the
though,
last
isn't it?
one,
It's a
to the
plus
last
figure
point.
because they are
it's
separate.
not a plus.
They're
a
separate water
square one.
levels. They are separate water levels. You can't do anything
I'm
than
not-
add them together. You can't start doing multiplication with separate water levels in reality, can you? I mean, what are you doing?
I'm not sure what you're doing, but
Funk, I've just got a question for you, right? If you're saying
I got
that you
many questions for you
you
guys
have to
also.
square the second water level.
No,
the-
you're
the
gonna
drop, the
if-
drop on the second one. Why don't you have to square the first one? Why do you
You-
just accept that as your 0.7 of 1 millimeter, and then you're saying for your second 100-meter stretch, you have to square that one? Well, if you have to square that
You-
one, then surely you have to square the first one.
yes, you're squaring both of them. That's correct. But if
Well,
but
but why
let me
are you
give you
squaring?
this.
No,
oh
hold on,
my
hold
God.
on, 2 seconds.
That's
'cause,
correct.
Like, 2 seconds.
Uh,
So are we?
okay,
this
2
is
seconds.
this is reality. We're talking about like with real water levels, not a drawing. This is reality. So one end of the water level is level with the other end of the water level. To me, yeah. When I use a tool called a water level, that's what it establishes. Now we've been told that there's a tilt over 100 meters, 0.7 per mil. So if you had that one, like say you had two stakes in the ground, one at one end, one at the other, 100 meters apart. You tie them and they're set. You can't move them. You get another water level and you come next to that and you take it off your last mark, and that means that you're 0.7 of a mil lower the other end according to this mathematics. So if you did that 16 times, that's 16.7, yeah, right? That will give you a measurement.
11.
when you say
agree?
when you did you take 16 times
Yeah.
0.7 now? Okay, so that's where let me give you this example before you. Okay,
Hold on, what do you think of that example first?
because I think you're completely wrong, and let me explain.
No, I can't be
No,
wrong.
no.
Because
Let
it's
me
logically
explain
correct.
first.
Yes.
Okay, let me I'm gonna bring up some math here. So, if
Okay,
you're taking
sorry, before you carry on too far
my
into
God.
maths, can you relate
Can I
this?
speak?
Please
Can I say a single thing
relate
here now?
it to reality.
Can I speak
Like
now?
he's just done with the water levels. You keep
Can I
doing that,
speak?
please. Yes.
Can I speak
Off you
now?
go.
I wanted to say something 5 minutes ago almost, so I'm gonna say that. if you're taking if you're using a 100 meter water level, and you're going to calculate what your expected drop would be, then let's say that's 0.7 millimeter. If you're taking another water level and adding on to that one, 100 meter long, then if you're at that point, if you're at that 100 meter mark, and you're measuring that drop, then you would measure that drop to be 0.7 millimeter as well. But if you're at the beginning of the first water level, and you're measuring and you're calculating what the drop would be to the end of the second water level, that's 200 meters. That's not the same as saying that's 0.2 millimeters times 2. That's something you're going to get a bigger number, because the slope, the slope which the ground is curving away, it's curving as with the distance as longer as it goes away from you. The slope increases. So for every meter, I'm not finished. So for every meter it moves away, it's going to drop faster and faster. The derivative of the drop is going to increase as it's going away from you. So it's not a linear function like you did now. You just added them together. That's not how it works. It's a square function.
Thinking.
Okay,
Fantastic.
so you don't think that the way of that test is run will actually achieve anything at all then?
I don't know what he was trying to achieve. I don't know what he did.
Well,
it depends on where he did the measurements from. Where did he do that in? I don't know what he's doing.
Well,
what is he doing?
Oh, you'll have to have a look at that yourself, mate. But that's what he's doing. He's getting 16 and putting them together.
Okay, then each one of them would measure 0.7 from the beginning to the end of that individual water level. But that's not to say you can't just add them together, 16 in a row, and say, well, that's 11.5 or what you got, 11.7.
So if you had if you had that set up and then you had a mile water level, one that goes from one end to the other, do you think there'd be a difference to the other water level at the end? From one end to the other, over a mile.
Sorry, could you explain? I'm trying to visualize what you were thinking.
Okay, yeah. So you've got this 16 100 meters set up, and that's 16 times 0.7 mil, and then you go and get a mile long water, and then you put that on the first point and the last point. And would there be a difference?
No, that would be it would still be the same drop. But that's my point, is that when you're changing the measurement point, if you're measuring the drop from each individual point.
How much do you think there is drop over a mile?
From a mile, isn't it 8 inches per square mile or something?
Right, okay. Well,
so it's 8.
So they say. So 16 times 0.7 millimeters is different than 8 inches.
Sorry, 16.
0.7 of a millimeter. If you times 16 by 0.7.
You know what that is, Funk? 16 times 0.7?
Yeah, it's 11 something.
Yeah.
Okay, so 11 millimeters, right? That's 1 centimeter and a little bit.
Yeah.
And the other one is 8 inches.
Yes, and that's what I told you. That's why I said you cannot add them together if you're gonna measure the drop from the first level. The way I explained to you now. That's why I told you.
All right,
you cannot do that.
Why don't you?
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's clear.
Do the maths for squaring the 0.7.
0.7. You mean squaring 100 meter drop? You mean?
Well, you've got 100 meter water level, and you've got 0.7 of a millimeter drop in the water level between one end of that 100 meters and the opposite end of that 100 meters.
Mm-hmm.
Now you are claiming that is not a linear relationship. You are claiming that needs squaring now. So you
No,
need to
if you're gonna add them,
need to take that. That's what you just claimed, to square all of those 0.7 of 1 millimeters 16 times.
no, it's already each individual measurement is already done
At
according to
0.7
that formula for
at
100 meters.
0.7 of 1 millimeter. So that has been. So now you're saying that squaring has already been done.
It's in this each individual 100 meters measurement. Yeah.
It's already been done. So to add the 0.7 of a millimeter 16 times together is correct, because you have already the
no.
square function has
No.
you just
Oh
said
my
the square
God.
function has just been applied in each 100 millimeters.
I'm gonna
100
show you.
meters. You're not squaring it then squaring it again, Funk.
No, let me show you what I mean.
Is this
Is
a new
let's
breed?
say-
Sorry, wait a
if you're-
minute,
if
wait a
you're
minute, Funk.
saying,
Wait a minute. Is this a new breed of ballers, the ones that can manipulate water as a distance that they are away from it? Is that what we're experiencing here now? The rise of the water bender. Yeah. You might be able to claim your position here, Funk, as a water bender. Are you saying that the drop increases the further you are away from it?
Its derivative increases. The amount it drops increases with distance.
From the point that you start measuring.
Hence the square function.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a linear function. So if it was a linear function, you could add them together, but it's not. It's a square function.
In reality, can you do that in reality?
Let me give you an example. If you're saying 1 squared, what's 1 squared?
We don't want an example. We want to know if you can apply it to your reality.
Measurement from a point to a point.
No,
the squared
I'm just gonna
how do you use the squared function on a point-to-point measurement system?
I don't think it's pointless to do this if you don't understand the math. So that's why I'm going to give you an example now. If you're saying no, wait a
minute. It's pointless for you to do the math if you don't understand reality. Does that sound a bit better?
No, you're not going to say. Let me respond to that, because you guys said these are predictions. You just explained that. I said, is it measured? No, it's predictions, and this predictions is math. And if you're not talking about math now, I don't know what you're talking about.
Funk, if you measured
that was the whole point of this discussion, and suddenly it's not about calculations anymore.
Funk, if you measured an 8-inch drop in elevation, why would you call that curvature?
I'm not going to derail into that again. I just explained that now.
I'm just saying, you're measuring a change from the horizontal. That's called an elevation change.
Yes, we're derailing it a little bit now. I'm going to give you this.
I don't think he's not, Funk, though, is he?
Yes, he is. We were talking about this earlier.
We are talking about the drop over a mile.
We're talking about the predicted drop. The ones that we predict. And you guys are adding it together. You're doing it wrong. And I'm trying to explain you why you're predicting. You're not using the formula right.
Yeah, how do you use the formula with water levels, please? In reality.
The formula is a prediction. It has nothing to do with the water level.
Well, that's what we're talking about, is the individual water levels. Right?
Yeah, but
in reality, Sly Sparkane, have you seen his test yet? Have I had a look at it?
I don't care. You're predicting it wrong. You got the whole baseline wrong. Your predictions are wrong.
Okay.
What, got the fact that the water is level?
Yeah.
No, it's
not level.
My God.
Or it changes its level the further you get away from it.
I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
This is high school math, guys. This is not very hard. You guys are
You're
laughing,
funny.
but it's kind of ridiculous.
No, we use these tools in reality.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You cannot. Sure, you
No.
can use the tool. Sure, you can use the tool, but you're not doing the math correctly. That's my whole point
Do
here.
you think you could
Man,
use
here's
a
reality.
water? Do you think you could
Oh my
use a
god,
water
you're
level?
spewing
tool?
random shit.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think you could use a water level as a tool to establish a level horizontal straight line?
Yes, I have used water. I've used levels before, but
Now,
I want
water
to go
level
back
is
to
for-
this example.
Be specific. He was talking about a water level.
I think I'm going to finish my example.
Can you be
First.
specific when you were saying you have?
No,
used a
I'm
level?
actually going to
Everybody's-
finish. I'm
so you
going to
can't-
finish
you
what I
can't
was
be
going to.
specific.
I can, but you guys
Well, off you
are
go then.
avoiding
Be-
this topic.
be
You guys are
specific.
avoiding. You're avoiding this topic, which I was into before. I
We're
was trying to
avoiding-
give you an
sorry.
example.
No,
You
he's
guys are
avoiding
avoiding me. You're avoiding this topic when I'm trying to explain you how to
And
do
which
this
is the
calculation.
topic that we're talking about? Because we're talking about
I don't know,
water
you
levels
switch topic.
in reality.
Then you switch topics. Then you switch topic.
I asked
No,
you if
nobody
you used
switched
the water
topic.
level.
Yes, you fucking did. I was
Let's
trying to
get-
explain
let's
to
get
you
back to the
why you did
original-
this.
Why
Oh
don't we just
my
get back to the
god.
original conversation.
I am not.
Water level.
Yes. Let's do this original conversation with the 16 individual water level and what individual drop would be and what the combined drop would be. That's
I
the
thought
whole
we'd done
point
that.
here. No, you were not done at all. And I wasn't done on that. You guys just
I was done
moved to
because-
something else.
Because I know what you're going to say.
Then you are ignorant. I cannot help you then.
No, I'm
I
only
cannot help you. You don't
go
want
on.
to. You don't want to learn this simple math. It's very
No,
simple
I'd
math.
like to know what it is, actually. I would. I'd like to.
Okay. So in this example, I'm gonna give you an example. If you're taking if you're taking 1 squared, that's 1, right? I'm gonna take that as a yes.
It's 4.
Okay, it's 4. It's 4. Okay. Oh, it's 1. If you're taking 1 squared, it's 1. And if you're taking 16 individual 1 squared, that is 16, right? If you're adding 16, if you're taking 1 squared and then adding another 1 squared and adding another 1 squared, that's 16. If you're adding 16 of them, right? Are you guys following me? Hello?
Hello, I'm still here. I'm doing this.
Okay, so if you're adding, if you have 1 squared and you're multiplying that with 1 squared, and if you do that 16 times,
That's not
what you gonna get?
That's not a process you can do in reality, right? You can't take something. You can't. Hold on, listen. In reality, like the real world, like if we were going to go out there and measure and do something, you couldn't take 1, square it, and then multiply it by itself 16 times. That's a brain operation. That's not something that happens in the real world.
This is math. I'm just talking about the math.
Okay.
equation.
Yeah, but we're talking
Can you
about the real
do? Can
world.
you do math? I'm talking about the math.
Bro, I'm not trying to brag, but I was the top 1% in the
Then
United
you should be
States in
able to
math.
do this math. Then you should be
but-
able to do
and
this.
But okay, listen. When you say math, what are you talking about? What is math?
I'm talking about 1 plus 1. What's that?
Okay, so are you saying 1 as in representing a single object in reality, or 1 as a subjective general? Hold on.
Please
are you
describe
talking about
one.
1 as an objective? Because here's the thing: if you say 1 is
Could be.
objective, okay, so then if I take 1 pile of sand and add it with 1 pile of sand, I should have 1 pile of sand. How does 1 plus 1 equal 1?
So this is kind of getting to a point of ridiculousness that you don't want
Because
to
that's what
do a
math
simple
is.
math question.
I just did
I'm
simple
asking
math.
you 1
What's
plus
one-
1, and you're not gonna
What's
do
one-
that. So
what's
that's
one pile of-
pointless.
Listen. What's one pile
If
of
you
sand
guys are
plus
gonna be
one pile
taken
of sand?
seriously by Globers, you guys need to be able
I
to do
don't-
simple
look,
math.
if you can't do math, right? Like if you can't explain
You
what math
can do
is,
math. It's you
I'm
who
doing
can do
math.
math. No,
Okay,
you
so tell
didn't.
me
I
what-
asked you what 1 plus 1 is, and
well,
you're not gonna
right,
I'm
answer that.
asking you one
We're
what?
talking about
I'm
sand.
asking you one what? If I add one pile of sand
Number
with one
one.
pile of
The
sand,
number one.
but-
The number
but
one.
one
Ah,
what?
yeah,
The
one
number
number
one is
one.
not a
Hey,
thing.
guys,
Guys.
hold
You
on.
understand?
Hold on.
The number
Okay.
one is not a thing.
Hold on.
This
The
is
number one
ridiculous.
describes
Hold on.
something in reality.
Hey,
This is fucking.
well, I left
my
the
God.
conversation.
This is
because I
why
got cut
it's
out,
not.
and I
I'm
came
still.
back and-
I'm talking about
chaos.
1 plus
Yeah,
1,
just
and
a minute.
nobody can answer
Funk,
that.
just a minute. Go ahead, spot on.
Well, I was just saying, I thought we were going to go through something. I left and we were going to go. I cut out. I apologise. And
Yeah, it's fine.
what's happened?
I don't know.
Nothing
I
has
don't know.
happened.
What?
We
It's got 1 plus
we-
1 with, and he
yeah,
is talking
we-
about sand.
Somebody came in and
He
we
was
got
doing-
derailed. Yeah, he wanted to. This
Because
is
he-
his way out.
Yeah, he's asking what 1 cubed times 16 ones is. I'm like, that. This has nothing to do. That math
Yeah,
has
we,
nothing to
we
do
know
with one
that.
setting a horizontal, right?
Oh, it's
So,
the
like,
prediction.
Right,
It's a
okay.
prediction.
But can you see I've just drawn something on the
You
board? I
guys
mean,
are wrongly interpreting that prediction.
Right,
That's
see-
what I'm trying to
you
get
see,
at.
I've
But if you're gonna just move on, I think I'm just gonna leave actually, because you're not gonna entertain this thing at all.
you see what I've drawn.
It's not serious at all.
Are you that frightened of it? Can you not look?
No, I think you guys are frightened.
I've
you
just
guys
drawn
won't
something on
answer
the
what 1 plus 1
on the
is.
whiteboard. Can you see it?
Yes, I see you
I've got
having a
16.
bunch of.
Yeah, 16 100-meter water levels. It's very pretty. I'm sure Slice Barcane can make it look much better than that. But that's basically it. Now, if the drop from one end to the other is calculated at 0.7...
don't calculate. That's not reality. Don't calculate.
Right, well, you could still fit them on that line. You just
You
have to
cannot
imagine
use numbers.
that they were
Don't use
all on
numbers.
the same slope.
Cannot use math.
If every one of those had a drop of 0.7 calculated,
How
then
did you calculate that?
what we did was we asked one of you guys to calculate it, and somebody
And I
was
tried to-
much better
I'm
at
not
maths
allowed
than
to
you.
talk about-
Gave
I'm
us that
not-
number.
I'm not allowed. I'm
Because
not allowed to talk
we
about
don't
math.
do that. I know. Well, look,
I'm not
I've-
allowed to talk about math with
that's
you
why
guys,
I've drawn that
apparently.
little picture for you, because
Yeah, but
it's
I
a
want
depiction.
to. You guys are using math.
I even use different
to-
colours so you can see the different colours
guys
all the
are
way
using-
along it.
You guys are using. You guys are
Really?
using
Water
math.
level.
This is doing my ears in. All right, Funk. Every time
he's
anyone tries to speak, you literally talk through them. It's driving.
I know,
It's,
but
it's
that's
driving me
because-
nuts. No, I left the conversation earlier and it was fine. I come back and you're refusing to talk about certain things. It's
Oh,
going
Jesus.
nowhere. You
In
need-
Christ, Emma.
I don't know what's happened in the interim,
Ah,
but if you're going
believe
to
it.
speak over each other, it's not going to work for anybody.
It's not a one-way debate. I'm trying to make my point, and nobody wants to entertain. We're not talking about what's 1 plus 1 is, and that other guy is talking about sand.
But it's
That's the
2. Okay,
problem.
1 plus 1 could be 2. 1 plus
Oh,
1 can
thank
also
you.
be. Hang
I
on.
know.
Hang on. But let me finish. 1 plus 1 can also be 1 if the one that you're adding is a pile of sand or a coffee. If I have one coffee and I pour it into another coffee, I have one coffee. So what you're doing is you're just getting away from reality. Now, if he's not using math. He's using water levels. A water level is a physical measuring device. It is not math. It is not calculation. It makes a physical measurement. Do you understand that?
But it was you guys who brought up the math in the first place, and when you do it wrong, I'm trying to explain how the right thing is, and I haven't gotten through. I have maybe 6 points I want to explain now, and I haven't gotten past point 1 even. So that's
Okay,
why
so-
I'm
but
gonna
will-
leave.
Will you agree that water levels are not mathematical theory, but an actual physical object?
again, you're not. It's not me who brought this up as a subject. You guys are using this prediction and talking about them and adding them and telling me how it doesn't add up.
Okay, but
And I'm trying to explain you how you did the math wrong,
okay, but
and you're not letting me explain that.
I will get to
So
the math.
that's what I'm gonna move.
Hold on,
Okay,
guys. Can I
I'm
just-
gonna do
hold on,
something else.
because it was me who sort of like started. So like for one thing, it's not us talking about the math. That's like the maths has been given to us by people that think, there's curvature there that can be measured. So all this maths is nothing. We're not talking about maths. We're giving you the maths we've been given. So we were just trying to understand by doing that test what could be achieved by it. That's really where it was all going. But so I don't know if you want to carry on with that or where you want to go with that. What's your own Ben?
I don't know. Can I speak for maybe 1 minute without
Okay.
getting?
So, but
If-
keep
if
on
not, then I'm
on
gonna-
the actual practical test, please.
I'm gonna talk about the predictions. If I'm not allowed to talk about the predictions, I'm gonna leave.
Go on. Yeah, fantastic. Go on.
So is that go on or leave?
No, yeah, you can carry on telling us what you
Okay.
predict.
So in these predictions, as I said, when you're measuring this or predicting these drops, the drop is not a linear function; it's a squared function. It's non-linear, and by that, it's the reason why I said when you're adding them together, you're adding 1,600 meter water levels, and you're comparing the drop of each individual water level with the drop from the first to the last point of the 16 water levels, which is different. And the reason by that is by using the formula for prediction. If you're saying it's a squared function, and if you're taking 1 squared and you're adding on 1 squared more, and you're adding on 1 squared more, if you're doing that 16 times, you're going to get 16 as a number. That would be the same as saying 16 individual water level has 1 meter in drop, for example.
I don't like that word prediction. I like
Did you
assumption.
get-
Yeah, I know you don't. I'm gonna
Ooh.
finish first, so then you can interrupt afterwards. But if you're gonna say what's the drop from the first point to the last point, you have to take 16 squared, and 16 squared is not 16. 16 squared is 256 or something. Maybe I'm bad at math. I don't know, but it's something like that. It's not 16. So you cannot add them together and say, well, that's the drop, total drop. It's not that simple.
Well, just we're not saying that there is. Let's make that clear. Or I'm not. I'm talking about myself here, not other people in this room, because other people have other opinions. But yeah. So have you finished with that?
Yes, I'm finished.
All right, does anyone else want to come in on that then?
Well,
Oh, that yeah. I'll definitely talk about that. So basically, what he's saying, he's going, okay. So in 1 mile, there'll be 8 inches of drop, right? But that at half a mile, you're not going to get 4 inches of drop because it's not linear; it's exponential. Now, what
Yes.
he's saying is, yeah, I know. So what you're saying is that when you do a 16 piece of drop, right, or a 1,600 foot section, the drop will be 1 or there'll be none, right? But then you'll do another 16-foot section, and since it's small, its drop will be none. And then when you do another, its drop will be none. And then when you add them all up, instead of getting the sum total of the exponential, which is what you actually should get, but you won't because he knows this, what he's doing is he's flattening it more. And instead of making it an exponential drop, he's making it a linear drop. So you're measuring linear drop over this 1,600 each over the entire thing. So when you add up all these 1,600s, he's accounting for linear drop across the entire length of these 16. He's not giving the exponent length, and this is why it'll work out in his mind to be way flatter than it actually is.
No, it's just.
But that was a
just,
good trick. That was good. That was you almost had me there. I was like,
So-
oh, okay,
Not
yeah.
a trick. It's just how to
It is a
calculate
trick.
drop
It is a
on
trick.
any
no.
sphere. It doesn't have anything to do with Earth. You can
No,
calculate
but you
the drop is on a
you
on a
just made the
basketball.
drop linear. You just made the drop linear, not exponential.
No, and I didn't make it linear. I said it's exponential all the time.
But what you're doing is when you're saying he's measuring it linearly because he's doing small sections.
Each individual point is exponential, but that's not the same as doing. If you're gonna add them together, you cannot do it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I know. So what you're doing is when he adds it together, he has his 16. Now you're taking that all together, right? All of them together, and you're making the drop linear.
No, I
Yeah,
believe
it's
that
a little trick. Well,
that's
that's what you're doing when you're
spot on level.
when you
is
add up your
that.
models. Well, because what you're doing is you're saying if I have a 10-mile section and I measure it in 1 mile sections, that I will get a linear. I should get a linear. No, there should be an exponential amount of drop from the beginning to the end. Just because I measured it in sections will have no impact on the drop of the entirety of the length. The drop of the entirety of the length from point A to the end point should be an exponential one. And it won't be because water doesn't exponentially drop because the Earth isn't a ball. But now you know this subconsciously, so you're going to have to somehow justify the results that are going to show damn near zero drop. So first, you try to do some kind of little brain trick here by linearing out the exponential drop. I mean, I don't know if you were doing it subconsciously or consciously, but that's exactly what you're doing.
I didn't linearize anything.
You did, because you're saying you're taking each section and you're going 1 times 1 times 1, when it shouldn't be that. It should be 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8, because it's
that's
getting
correct.
bigger.
Yeah, that's correct. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
but I said
it's a quarter
but
function of the half distance, right?
yes, but that's why I said when you guys did it, you took literally 0.7 and multiplied it by 16, and I said you cannot do that. That's
But we're
all I
talking
did.
about a
so-
practical reality thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, like, maths, what we're here to do is to try and figure a way to measure something, like in reality.
Yeah,
And with the water
I
level,
agree.
there's a test that is actually pretty good.
Yeah, well, actually, I think the difference here is the fact that we understand what differential leveling is and how it works. It just works at measuring a drop from point to point. And that's it. That's all you do. You never get a squared function out of it. That never happens in reality, right? I'm guessing, have lived in reality and worked and measured things in reality, whereas you, Funk, I'm presuming, you've never done any of this stuff in reality.
I haven't done what you're saying now, but I've done other stuff.
No, but that's what gives you the ability to imagine this squared function.
That's just how it works on a spherical shape, or on a circular shape.
It's like a mini Penrose you've had happen, whereas you can imagine something, and your imagination is that good that you can imagine that you can predict that reality does that too.
No, it's a prediction, and it relates to any. Actually, it doesn't have to be a sphere, but it's represented on a slice of that sphere.
Okay, well, let's just imagine that this is an actual test, and it's along the side of a canal, right? And you stood at one end of it, and you've predicted that the far end has a drop from the horizontal of X amount, right? Whatever it is that you've decided to predict. But you then start walking, right? And you walk to the middle. Then Like the water in the other end of all of these pipes, right? Has that moved? Have you done something to the position of the water in the tubes of the water level by your movement along this little journey you're going on? Stroll half a mile. Still here, Funk?
Yes, I'm just multitasking.
Okay. So what happens to the water within these water levels that you've predicted have a 8-inch drop if you walk halfway? Because like there's 16 individual water levels, so you've just walked past 8 of them and you stand there right in the middle. What has happened to that water in the 16th water level?
Hurrying away from you.
And the one where you've just set off from, that was the highest one, I suppose, was that?
Elevation isn't calculated.
Well,
that.
From the horizontal, right?
Horizontal would not be representative of elevation.
But there was 8 inches before drop from the horizontal when you were stood at one end of it. Now you've walked halfway. What's happened to that? The water within the water level. What's happened to the horizontal that you started off from before? And what is the horizontal that you're now working from? And the measurements and all of that. Please tell us about your predictions.
What's happening with the water when you're walking?
Yeah.
Alongside the water.
Yeah, the water within the water levels. Does
the water, what's happening inside that water level? There's nothing special happening there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so the water within the water level doesn't give a shit about where you are stood.
It doesn't give a shit about where he stood. That's correct.
Brilliant.
But it's
brilliant.
Yeah, but brilliant. Yeah, now you heard something you want me to say. Yes. But it's when you're gonna measure it, then you need to have a reference point from where you're measuring.
Can I just clarify a point as well, Bev? The water does or doesn't move within the water levels as you are moving from start of your mile through your half mile to your end mile points. Does your physical movement along that path affect the level of the water within the water levels?
Well, if it's in between the water level, then it's you don't have a water level. You don't have a point where you can see the water level.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I didn't understand that. I'm asking if your physical movement along that path from beginning mile through half mile to end of mile affects the physical level of the waters within the water level.
No, it doesn't. Your moving doesn't affect it.
That's it.
Well, brilliant.
That's fine.
Sweet. Now, can you explain how you add in your squared function to the water in the water level that you don't affect anyhow?
It's in reference to where you once stood, right? That's the whole point of it. It's in reference. That's why I'm saying you cannot add them together when you're doing 16 individual 100 meter water levels, because it's all in what you're referring to.
Yeah, but Bev, if you use your whiteboard, you could show it. Like might be easier to see it.
Well,
easier.
Yeah,
with your water level
You can see the water. Yeah, can you see the screen? I've drawn the 16 water levels. He didn't want to see them.
Yeah.
He was scared.
Yeah, I see them.
It's frightening.
Come on, Bev.
Well, come on.
I'm not doing
well,
that.
Okay.
Dude.
Look, this water level is. Like, we've got to start here, right? Got to start there, right?
Yes.
Sounds quite low for me. I don't know if that's everyone.
There we go. Is that better? Bring the mic over. If we start here, then
I don't know if I don't know if he's actually listening, mate. Is he watching?
I don't know. Can you see? Funk?
Yes, I see. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So if we start at one end and we get to this 100 meter mark, what? We've got a 1.7 of a drop. Yeah?
Yes.
But then
0.7.
we're on to that water level's finished. We're done, right? That's your calculation done with that one. Then we're on to this one here now. So from this one, how much of a drop do we have over this water level here?
The same one.
0.7.
If you're doing a
and
new
0.7
measurement.
and 0.7.
Yeah.
And 0.7. So that's just a slope, like we said.
No, because if it's a slope, then each individual one would.
It can't be a slope, can it? Because it's a water level.
He turns it linear.
Yeah.
You see how he makes it linear?
Yeah. How do you have a
needs to
slope?
draw it
The
out.
water level will pour out of one end if there's a slope, right? That's the
No,
function of a water level. Is to
the
establish a
gravitation.
level.
It conforms to the gravitational field, so no, it won't pour out.
What, with the slope?
I think you need to.
Slope is in reference to the gravitational field. So if you're gonna use another reference,
It's
which
only
is not using,
It's only a slope when you stood at one side of it. Because if you stood in the middle of it, they're both the same level then, right?
I'm gonna repeat. It's not a slope.
It's only
If
a
you're
slope if
taking
you stood at
out
one
the
end.
gravitational field. It's not a slope if you're considering the gravitational field, which is
We're not
it's
considering the
conforming to that.
gravitational field. This is geometry.
I cannot help you with that then.
There's no gravity in geometry, is there?
Well, water conforms to the gravitational field, and it doesn't care about geometry.
That's perpendicular though, right? That's a normal. Perpendicular, vertical, horizontal. So that's this line here. Horizontal. That's what we're dealing with.
Yes, I know you draw it, and you can draw it as much as you want.
It's a horizontal.
It doesn't mean that you're drawing a straight horizontal line. It doesn't mean that's reality.
A horizontal isn't it?
No.
What, a horizontal
Sorry.
isn't a straight line?
Horizontal is a straight line,
well,
but that's not the shape. That's not the. If that's a.
See this?
Guy,
Plumb bob.
you're just saying things to fit your model.
Yeah. It's the
Stop
plumb
it.
bob here, right?
You guys are saying things to fit your model.
Right. So what's
Come on.
this? What's this plumb bob doing? Why is
No,
it
this is-
vertical?
Because you are drawing a horizontal line next to
What is
your
this? Is this vertical?
level.
Is this vertical? This.
In your
Plumb bob.
reference point, this is vertical, yeah.
Right, and perpendicular to vertical is
Yes, we know that.
horizontal.
Yes, but
Okay,
that's
so
a
that's this
definition.
line that we're dealing with here, the horizontal that is
Yeah,
set
but
by a
you're
level.
drawing everything is drawings now.
No slope.
It doesn't mean that it has to measure that way.
Can I
You're
ask
saying
you
no
one
slope.
question real
You're
quick?
drawing a straight line, and you're saying it's straight because horizontal is a straight line, which I draw. It's-
Can I ask you one question real quick? You said that the water conforms to the curvature rate. What is the radius of your gravitational center? What is that curvature rate?
Gravitational center doesn't have a radius.
So what is it?
It doesn't. What are you I said.
How do you measure a curve then? What are
Gravita-
you talking about?
Gravitational fields are fields. It doesn't have a radius. What are you talking about?
Well, Isn't the field
Whoa.
created by the mass? And wouldn't the mass create the field in the shape of the mass?
The field, it doesn't have a radius. What are you talking about?
So you're saying there's not a radius of gravity's potential
No, he's just trying to
around the Earth-
switch.
surrounding Earth? This is crazy.
There are,
gravity would be a...
he was asking me
Saying
for
that
a
the water
radius.
goes around
It's-
because the gravity conforms the water to the outside.
It acts
Like he
perpendicular,
said,
doesn't
It
it?
has to work that way. That was his.
No, it doesn't
exact
have
words.
to. It doesn't have to
You
be that
said
way.
that. You said
just
it
is.
has to work that way.
It's measured to be that way, and so
You
we.
can't
Who's
tell
measured it?
That the line isn't horizontal and
I
straight.
No,
every-
wait a minute. He's just claimed again, measured. Who, please, has measured it, Funk?
It's a bunch of people.
Yeah. Names,
Back to
please.
these bunch of people
Let's
again.
let's have some names, please. Because you seem to be
Uh,
talking a load of rubbish. Like, I would like to check with the people that you keep claiming have done this.
If you take a picture of the Earth, you're gonna see it's also curving. So
We
Does
want
that
some
count?
names, Funk. Funk,
Okay.
you keep claiming these people. We want some names.
Neil Armstrong took a picture of the
No,
Earth.
Funk,
No,
we want some
no,
names
come
of
on.
these people you are claiming have measured this curvature. You
I
did
just
this
told
when you
you.
came. You did this. Neil Armstrong's measured the curvature. Do yourself a favour,
Oh,
Funk.
He took a picture of the
I don't
curvature.
care what he claims to have taken a picture of. You are claiming there are people that have measured your alleged curvature. You did this earlier when you came in, and now you're doing it again. You claim, but you can't give any names.
I think he's scared.
Give some names of these people that you claim have measured this alleged curvature.
Have you been threatened?
Yeah, I
Has
can
somebody
look
threatened you, Funk, to not
No.
don't mention any names?
No.
Just because you
Calm down.
have no problem believing the words of these dumbasses doesn't mean that we do.
Who are these dumbasses?
You
The
go on.
people that tell you that the water conforms to the outside of a sphere due to an unknown force that nobody
they?
knows what the fuck is.
Who are they? Who are they?
No, this is what we're
What
asking
they?
you. It's
But you
that
guys
needs-
seem to
it's
know
you
that
that needs to
Giving your
supply
bullshit
some names.
information.
You seem to know that they are dumbasses already. You don't know who it
Right,
is.
Funk, if you do that again, I'm going to kick your stupid fucking ass out of here, right? We don't ad hom you, don't ad hom us.
Did I add you now? What did
You
I
just
do?
called us
What
a
did
load
I
of dumbasses, alright?
No, I didn't.
No,
Did I say dumbass?
no, he did. He did not call us
Hey.
dumbass.
Where did you hear that? I didn't say that.
Before Funk takes off, can I take to your drawing board real quick?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take off unless you kick me.
So over the course of 16 points, how far would that drop be? Like 11.2, I think, or something like that, right?
Reference to what? To the forest? Are
From
you
the
measuring?
first to the 16th?
Yeah,
point
what's your
on that.
Are you
calculator?
measuring? You measuring the drop at the first point? Is what you're saying?
No, I mean if you were to take a sum of all of the drops,
Yeah.
it would be an equal of what?
Should we?
Individual drops.
Oh my God, it's not a difficult question. Maybe
A to
somebody else can ask.
point B. There you go. Point
Yeah,
A,
as I
A
said,
to B.
it's a difference measuring from the drop from the
From
because
A
the
to
reason why
B.
you-
A to B.
Right. So
Okay.
A being the
So,
first one,
that-
B
that's
being
not
the
indivi- that's
16th.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Then I
Go
would
ahead,
say
Frank,
you.
explain to me what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so that's 1600 meters of drop. That's 8 inches. If you're gonna measure the drop at A, but if you're gonna move
So-
to the next point, your level is gonna change as well. So the drop is not gonna be. It's gonna be different depending on where you are across that line. And
Can I
that's
ask a question before you tell me what I'm trying to ask you?
perfect. That's perfectly
Can I ask
conforming.
you the question I'm trying to ask without you
Yes,
trying to
yeah.
tell me what I'm trying to ask? Is that okay? Because I
Sure.
still haven't been able to ask you the question that I'm trying to ask you. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. So from the first point to the second point, which is like 0.1 to 0.2, would be a drop of 0.7. You said. Is that correct?
Sorry. Are you? Sorry. What did you say now? Yeah, repeat.
From 0.1 of the 16 to 0.2 of the 16, would the drop be 0.7? Is that what we were talking about earlier?
It's between one of these levels. It's 0.7 millimeters.
0.7 millimeters. Okay. So then if you go to all the way to the end, to 0.16, it would be a sum total of how many millimeters of drop?
If you're gonna measure them individually, you would add them together to be 11 something.
Right. So if you take point A being the first one, all the way to point B being the 16th point, and you lowered the 16th point down 11, would that line curve, or would it still be a straight line?
If you're measuring in a straight line, you are looking at a straight line. That's just how it is.
So in what direction would each point, from the first point to the second point, which direction would that line be? Would it be curved, or would it be a straight line from point to point?
I would say, based on doing a lot of discrete measurements, you would infer that it's curving, because we don't observe an edginess to the observations ever. It seems to be.
I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about inferring a curve. I'm talking about measuring. You're measuring a straight line, right?
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that.
And you're measuring another straight line, and you're measuring another straight line. That would be a tilt. That would be a straight line all the way from point A to point B.
It's not one line though. It's not a continuous line from A to B. It won't be that.
Well, maybe you could draw it out.
We can draw it out.
There you go. I've done some geometry for you. I don't know whether this explains it well enough, right? But if you're at A, right, here's your view, and it drops 8 inches to B. Right? Does that work, Funk? If you're at if you're at A, it drops 8 inches to B.
Yeah, in reference to the level.
All of these water levels, right? If you're at A, then the level of this end of this water level will be 8 inches below. So this is here. But if you're at B, right, the level of the water level here drops down 8 inches.
Yeah.
Right? But where this cross at the middle isn't actually where you are, because if you stood in the middle, then this end of the water level here is 2 inches below you. And this is 2 inches below you. Yeah?
Yeah, that would be correct.
Right. Yeah, so your squared function doesn't actually work in reality, does it? This geometry here that you have proves that this reality that you were imagining can't exist. This is horizontal, and the only way all of this can work is if the water level is horizontal. It's perfect explanation.
That it doesn't work because you drew a straight line, but it's not a straight line. That's the problem. So I'm gonna draw that.
In between point A and B, would you be higher in the middle?
I'm gonna try and draw a drawing.
Wow. Do you think you can do better than me? Don't be drawing fancy stuff. Don't be
No,
doing
I'm-
shading and all that. There's no need to do
you-
that.
I'm gonna draw.
Can you answer Cleary's question? Because I'm curious about that as well. So
Sorry.
in between points A and B, would you be higher than points A and B?
No, you're being at your elevation is measured relative to the average to the
Plane.
No, elevation is the vertical difference in between horizontal points. I mean,
It's pointless to measure elevation on Earth in relation to a plane if you're living on a sphere. So that's not how you measure elevation on Earth.
So you've still not answered the question. If you're halfway between
You're
points
same
A and
elevation.
B, you're at the same elevation.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant A and B. But if you're in between A and B, and
Is that
you're
what I said the first time? When you're halfway between A and B,
Yeah.
are you higher than A or B?
okay. So at what point are you at? Are you drawing a straight line between A and B, and
Yeah.
then you measure
Yes.
the
Yes,
elevation
it's a
at that
horizontal
point?
plane. From point
Okay,
A to
okay,
point B, it's
then-
a horizontal plane. If you were in the middle
then-
of it, would you be higher than that
Lower.
horizontal plane?
Then you will be lower.
No,
than
not
lower
a
elevation.
horizontal plane.
No, this is what Cleary was asking on his model, on his belief system.
If you're in this example, you draw a straight line from A to B, and if you are on that line,
Right,
and you
I'll
are
give, I'll give
in
it
the
to you.
middle
I'll
of
give
A
it
and
to
B.
you another way. Right, you've got a
Okay.
water level running along the side of a mile-long stretch of canal. Right, you are at the half-mile point, halfway between, equidistant between one end of the water level and the other end of the water level. Are you in that center point higher than the two ends of the water level?
Are you? I'm not sure where you're at.
You
you're
are
at the
standing
elevation-
next to a bloody canal.
Yes, but I'm asking you at what line you're on.
What line? What are you talking about?
What-
You have got a water level
along
that is
the,
running
y-axis.
parallel to a canal. You are standing equidistant from each end of that water level. Are you higher than the water level, each end, points A and B? Half a mile either way away from you. It's not a difficult question, Funk.
I think it's a bit confusing the way you ask. To be honest,
Funk, it's not
can you draw it?
difficult.
Let me try. Let me try.
Bev's just fucking draw.
Let me
this.
try.
yeah. Let
Oh my
me have a
life.
way. Slap.
My life.
No,
He
he's just
drives.
doing this
He
on
drives.
purpose, right?
It's because you have a water level now at A. I considered you guys to have one water level from A to B, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
drawing
but
a
we
straight
were
line.
talking.
Can I just clear something up? Oh, I think
Go
that I can spot the confusion. So if you're at the canal and it's a mile long, yeah,
Yes.
the canal. Don't worry about water level just for a minute. Although that DP, if you want to carry on with that, but just
Yeah,
if
sure.
you're stood at that canal and it's a mile long and you walk to the middle, would the water drop away from you, left and right of you, or like so? Are you on the top of that water level and everything drops
Yeah.
away from the water level? Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, waterbender.
But you are at the same elevation.
No,
But you are at.
no. If you draw a straight line between point A and B, okay, and you pull a string tight between point A and B, it's 1 foot off the ground. Is that string going to be closer to the ground in the middle?
Yeah.
So there's a hump.
Yes, you could consider that a hump.
So the point A and B are a single straight horizontal line with a hump in the middle.
Say that.
Is this
Yeah,
hump-
depends
this
on
hump is on
where
The
you.
string pulled tight would
It could either be a
the string
slope.
pulled
It
tight
could
would have
either be a
hump
slope
in the
curve in
middle.
a. Yes, you could say that, but then you could say it's a hump, but you have to
Right,
think
so there
about
is
that.
no drop. There is
Okay,
no
You're
drop
looking
between
down.
1A and B.
You're looking down in the ground now. You're looking downwards. If you're looking
You're looking
level,
up.
it won't be a hump. It's gonna curve away from you. If you consider that a hump, then yes, you can do that. But I think it's better to consider it as an arc going away
So
from
the
you.
ground doesn't drop from point A to B; it humps in the middle. There is no drop.
There is a drop. That depends on what you're referring to.
You can't have it both ways, amigo.
It depends on what you're referring to, as I said. If you're looking
We're
at,
referring to reality.
if you're looking directly at A, you're in the way I would explain it. You're looking down in the ground. You're not looking level.
You're looking over a
If you're
hump.
looking at A, if you are at B and you have a straight line to A, you're looking down already.
Not according to what you just said.
I'm saying it now, isn't it enough?
So you're changing your
Why are
mind.
you changing your mind? Yeah, why does your story change depending on where the person is observing from? That's not reality. Reality doesn't change depending on where you're viewing it from. If I stand next to a canal, if I walk a mile down the canal, my reality hasn't changed. My relationship to the water hasn't changed. And the water's relationship to me hasn't changed.
I didn't say that, but level
No, that's exactly what
changes.
you said.
Level changes.
No, level doesn't change.
I know you
Level
think that, but if
It's
level
a straight
would,
line on a horizontal plane.
I know,
Always
I know
has
you said
been,
that,
always
but
will be.
if level would change, this is how you
If-
would experience
If
it.
level would change.
I say if for
So
you
this
guys.
is a hypothesis.
Oh no,
You are
don't do
putting a
that.
hypothesis forward.
I said if for you guys. It has been
No.
measured.
It's not if. It's not if
Yeah.
for us. It is only if for you.
No, I said if for you guys.
It's imagined, isn't it?
You guys think it's imagined?
No.
but people
Well,
measure
you
it all.
still haven't supplied any people to contact regarding this claimed measurement that you have claimed.
Sure,
many
I'll-
times, has been done many times.
I'll look for it. Then
Don't
I'll.
come empty-handed next time, will you?
I'm gonna do your guys' dirty work.
That's your
It's
claim.
your claim, dude. We're saying
No, I think
the logical explanation is that water level and level is horizontal. Can't really logically
That's
be
an
anything else.
assumption.
You have to
Assumption.
you have to imagine curvature everywhere.
No.
You have to imagine straight lines curve. You have to imagine the horizontal actually curves.
You can imagine both straight lines and curved lines, and then you measure and see what's reality.
But
But
it's never been measured.
You measure what do you? If you don't measure anything, do you then assume that the horizontal is actually curved, and that's why you can't measure anything? Because you imagine the same elevation to be a curve, don't you?
Elevation is just a reference point.
Yes,
What
which
you're
is
referring to.
which is set from a datum point.
Yeah, and
usually
isn't that based on a
mean sea level.
based on a globe.
Mean sea level, based on the sea
globe.
level and the mean average of it. Yeah. So is
Oh, it's
that
on a
where
globe.
you're going wrong? When you hear mean sea level, do you imagine the curve right there? Is that your datum? Is your datum got a curvature to it?
It's curving, yeah.
Right, so that is a horizontal, right? That your datum that you use to measure elevation from is a horizontal datum.
No, it's based on the curves. It's based on the sphere.
It's not. It's a horizontal. That's where you're going wrong. Step one.
Are you saying that the datum?
I'm saying
is
the
not,
mean sea level is a horizontal datum. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
Hey,
if you're
Funk,
using mean,
Hey, Funk, if I was on one side of the lake and you're on the other side of the lake, we both had an auto level looking at each other, we would see each other straight on, right? That would just be a hump in the water.
Depends on how far away. It might be that you are looking a bit. If you are at the same elevation, then we would see not directly at each other.
We would be looking straight at each other with a hump of water in between us. If we had the optics to do such a thing, which we don't really.
Well, from my perspective, I would look level using my the optics inside the auto level, and then there would be a crosshair, and that level would look above you, so you would appear to curve away from me.
There's only a hump of water in between us. Why would it be looking above me?
Because it's not a hump. It's not, the water is not going upwards. It's
you don't
curving
even know
away
what the
from
surface of a ball is, Ben.
I just explained you now. Yeah, I don't know why you're saying it's a hump. I just literally told you many times earlier. It's when if you're looking straight at it, you're looking downwards. If you're looking level, the water is actually curving away from you. If you're looking down in the water, sure, you could say it's a bump, but then you're not looking level. So I don't know why you're saying that all the time.
I think this guy's just mad because we won't just let the Earth be a ball.
Funny.
It is. It is really.
Oh, you guys are explaining it wrong, actually. You're not even entertaining my idea correctly.
Because
you're misrepresenting. You're misrepresenting my idea. You can at least get that wrong, right?
Misrepresenting you. You're misrepresenting yourself. Funk. You keep contradicting yourself.
I didn't.
Whole model is something that's really not.
If something is curving away from you, what's the difference between something?
That's the only way you can test it. We're not doing.
What's the difference between a bump? Okay, let me draw you a drawing.
That ball represents it. No. There's a.
Is that Cleary talking or?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, he's really low.
I don't know if his mic's gone or.
I wonder what a reflection would look like. On the water.
Oh.
If it did that.
Is that you again, Cleary? I think have you done something to your mic? Yeah, that's really bad. Maybe a headset problem.
He's using his voice changer.
I had to nip off there and talk to them. Is Funk getting us a picture or something? Another drawing?
I've no idea. I think he might have gone to get these phone numbers that these people.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Talking about
have you posted anything anywhere? Because you said you're going to do some pictures. You've done. I've not missed them, have I?
No, nothing's been posted. No.
Oh. No. That's a bit weird. I mean, well, mind you, it's Funk, right? Have you ever give us anything, Funk? You didn't even give us any. Didn't give us any numbers or anything earlier. You just kept telling us that we don't know maths.
A bunch of bullshit. No, just one turn up.
You did get the math completely wrong earlier. So.
You haven't given us any math or anything.
I tried to, but I get that you guys were trying to derailing it into sand.
You struggled when you come to do the squared function of reality.
I didn't struggle. You guys were derailing like some maniacs.
No, you said a minute ago actually that you add the 17.7 millimeters when you were talking to, was it Mobius you were talking to? You said you add them.
That was from earlier too.
Yeah, you said you add them in a linear fashion, and then earlier.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
Oh man!
I meant to pick you up on it at the time. but you were deep in conversation with Mobius, and then earlier you said that there is a squared function that's added to those 0.7 millimeters. Again, you have contradicted yourself.
No, I never said that. I said that.
You
No.
said to
Oh,
Mobius
man.
that is a
You're
linear
so confused.
function, that you add them in a linear
I said
way.
he did it, and I said that's wrong.
No, you said
Cannot do-
you, as in we, as in you. You said you add them.
I want
You
to.
were
I'm going
talking
to
to
start
Mobius, and you
recording.
used the word you.
I'm going to start recording myself because this is
Good,
happening
because
every
then
time
you
in.
will see just how many times you contradict yourself.
And I will concede if I did
Well,
that.
actually,
and I
you
will
don't
say
have,
sorry.
You don't have
that
to start recording yourself. You can just go and listen to these when they're uploaded to YouTube. And
Oh,
you
I'm
will
gonna
see.
I'm gonna do that. You
Yeah.
also said out of nowhere you said to me earlier, "Why are you ad hominem?" And I said, "What?" And you said, "I
made a
said you was
mistake.
an idiot." I don't
I
know
made a
where you
mistake.
heard that. I never said anything.
I made a mistake.
That's fine. That's fine.
Now, you saying that you did you added them in a linear fashion, directly contradicts what you said earlier about adding the squared function. That's not a mistake. That is a contradiction.
I think there is something we are misunderstanding between each other.
No, I don't think there is. You're welcome to your opinion, but you directly contradicted yourself.
I don't think I did, but
Well, go back.
I can explain
Go
again.
back and listen to yourself, contradict yourself.
I'm gonna do that actually.
Good. Well done. All
I don't
yours,
think
Bev.
I can do
I mean, you literally said you add these straight lines together and you infer a curve from adding straight lines together.
But that's when you're asking how do you measure a curvature, and I said you can't do that. These instruments have limitations.
You can't measure curvature.
I said,
That's how we started, right?
Yeah.
well, I know you guys like to
You can't
like
measure curve.
Yeah.
Well done.
take what you want.
Funk, if you measure a straight line from point A to point B on the circumference of a ball, don't you see that that circumference or that ball humps up in between those 2 points?
First off, okay, I'm gonna answer that, but the first thing I'm gonna say. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna say is, if that instrument is not able to measure curvature, if there is curvature, how would you know?
Are you a
if that
PhD?
instrument is-
And can you name an instrument that can measure curvature?
I'm not sure if it's possible. Actually, you can only measure like discrete points,
Right,
and then
okay,
you.
so you're saying that curvature has been measured, and now you're saying that you're not sure if there's an instrument that can measure curvature.
No, I
Again,
said.
it's a contradiction.
Can I just
Well, the curvature has been observed, though, if you want to say that.
Observed.
Using a theodolite, you cannot measure curvature with the theodolite, but you can observe.
Oh no, Bev's a PhD.
If you take a picture of Earth from far away, it doesn't matter how much you zoom in, you're always going to see a curve, because it's like infinitely small increments of curvature along the way.
Can I just get you to say that again? About measuring curve with a theodolite. You said you can't measure curve with a theodolite, yeah, correct?
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
you cannot measure it that way now.
No, you can't measure curve. Thank you. Excellent.
Yeah,
You can't
I know
measure
you guys.
curvature with surveying.
Oh my god.
Can you say that?
Yes. Do you want to have a poster to?
Yeah,
put that on?
we can make it into a GIF. Don't worry
Do
about that.
that.
He'll do the
Make a GIF.
he'll do the
I
graphics.
can make it. I can do the graphics.
It. To be honest, don't you guys realize that you're putting this completely out of context by
He's got
saying
it.
that?
He's got a
if you're gonna
t-shirt shop,
quote
you know.
me- Are you gonna?
He could make it on. Put it on a T-shirt.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me ask you: are you gonna quote me on only that and not add the context, which I added?
No, Bev's not going to quote you at all.
I'm
right?
not.
Which context that you have to observe Earth from space?
No. What did I say earlier about it? I didn't only say that. I said a lot
You've got to
of things.
think about it mathematically. Don't think about it in reality, because that doesn't work. You've got to
didn't say
think
that.
about it mathematically.
I didn't say that.
That's the
What
only
did I
place.
say
That's the
earlier?
only place a squared function works, isn't it? In maths.
Well, what did I say earlier when I added context to that answer? Does anybody know
You've
that?
been here all day. You said a lot of things.
Yeah, but that specific thing I said a lot
Why
of
don't you
times.
defend yourself and say specifically what you mean when you say the context? Why don't you let us know?
I can do that again. I can do that again. I can do that again. I
Go on
did
then.
it earlier.
Off you go.
Go on then.
Go on then. Let us know.
And then follow it by some of the names of the people that you've got that measured curvature, and we can go and have a word with them.
I haven't got that yet.
Well, that's what we're most interested in, though, really, because that's what we're all about here.
But you want me to give the context, or do you want me to look for people? Then I won't be back probably until some other time.
You don't have to go and look for them. Don't worry about
How
that.
about you give us
I
the
have to
context?
Google, and I'm not
Playing-
gonna speak
I think
here while
they're all playing hide and seek, so it may take a
I'm not
while.
gonna look
The
at
context
this
that
while.
you meant, you cannot measure curvature. Why don't you give us the context of that and then go find your friends that have measured?
Yeah, that sounds a better idea. That's because there's no point in me leaving now just for that. I can look for it later.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell us how you can't measure curvature, and then
Because,
tell us about the people that you have seen that have measured curvature. That'd be great.
That tool you're looking at when you're looking at the point from point A to point B, you're having 2 points of you're having the point where you are, and you're having point B where you're measuring at. And that's you don't know how the ground, what's happening with the surface between point A and B.
Yeah, if
right?
you've already established
know
a
that.
horizontal mark there, though, that you can put them up against, that you know is horizontal, then it will help you, won't we? As a reference.
That wasn't my point at all. My point was when you have point A where you're at, and you have point B where you're measuring to that point, and if you're measuring what you guys call a slope or a tilt, but you guys don't know.
Like that.
You guys don't. Neither me or you don't know what's happening between point A and B.
Sounds like Sean Connery to me, that when you say that.
We're asking you.
Yeah, but I'm asking you guys. Also, it's a question actually. Also, I think you cannot know what's happening between
Are
point
you
A and B.
asking, can we measure elevation change? Yes, we can.
Yep.
No, I didn't ask that at all. I asked when you have point A and you have a point B far in the distance, and you're measuring that point, whatever you're measuring, you're
2 seconds. Why don't we use the canal as a reference then?
Yeah.
Instead of the land, because obviously we.
Sure, we can use canal.
We could do this.
So-
is Slice Barcane's doing this at the side of a
So if you're at
This
point
whole
A
text
in the
is
canal, and you have point B somewhere in the distance,
16 water levels. at the side
we
of a
only
canal.
we only know what's happening at point. We can only see point. We only measure towards point B, right? Or you can add
let's
more.
Suppose,
points.
let's
But you
suppose
only-
that a few weeks before we're doing this, that somebody's been out there and we've measured a lot of times from A to B to establish some marks that have horizontal marks all the way along here as well.
Sure, but those are marks. Those are points, right?
Yeah, horizontal. They're already
But
established.
what's happening between? But
reference
what's
points.
happening? But what's happening between those points?
Well, like infinitesimal, like each point
Yeah.
in between each point.
Yes.
Well, it would be level, wouldn't it? Because it would be measurable.
Yeah, but how do you
level.
know? You never
You've got
measured
tools.
it. You infer it to be a straight line between that, right?
But you've just said
No,
that
you're
a
measuring
curve
a straight
cannot
line.
be measured.
We've got the
So
straight
it
line.
cannot be anything other than a straight line.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying if you can measure it, how do you know the difference?
Because it's a straight line.
You-
We can
you-
measure
you're-
it as a straight line.
It doesn't measure a straight line. You just measure point A and B. We draw a straight line between A and B, and assume that it is straight.
It can only be straight because you have said you cannot measure a curve.
No, I said it doesn't measure. You can measure straight or curved.
Measure.
You only measure those 2 points.
You just
Whatever,
said
however
you
it.
can't measure a curve, and now you're claiming you can.
You measure a
No.
distance from
No,
the
I
horizontal
said-
of the land.
No.
That's what
no,
you do.
No.
Yes.
I said
Yes,
you
yes,
cannot
yes.
measure. You cannot measure. You cannot measure if it's a curve or flat. You cannot determine
But
those
you
two.
can't
Straight
measure a
line.
curve. So the only thing you
Yeah.
can measure is the straight line.
No, you're assuming it's a straight line.
No, it's a
between those.
horizontal because that's what the tool does. The tool
No.
establishes a horizontal line
No,
of
you are
sight.
creating a horizontal line and saying that it's a straight line between A and B, but you only see point A and B, and you're drawing a straight line between those two
You could
and
put
saying
point
it's
C
straight.
in the middle of it when
I
we
could-
did
I
our
could- I
test
could-
the other
I
day
could-
for straight
I-
line.
I could.
For Funk,
I
just
could-
a minute.
I could
Funk,
draw-
just a minute. When we were doing it the other day to establish a straight line test, what we did was 3 points, and then we moved the level to find that the 3 points when we backsighted were the same, thus establishing the straight line is the same straight line. There is no curvature between establishing a horizontal at one point and a horizontal at another point. The horizontal is the same straight line,
Yeah,
or
but
parallel to it.
But again,
It's
that's
even
not- you had-
assumed parallel.
Again, now you have 3 points, but you don't know what's happening between those points.
It's some sort
You're
of a
drawing
you're
a
trying to
horizontal
run
line.
into some sort of bloody paradox, but it's the wrong way round, you numpty.
No, it's not, because
Yeah, it is,
you
because
are-
this
you are actually
level
inferring
is
without-
established
you're-
between 2 points. That's
Yeah,
a
you
straight
establish
line.
it. You are establishing it. You are creating that line, but you only see point A and B and C. You're not you're not seeing every point between that.
You can move the water level along. That's the point of
Yeah,
the water
but
level.
how many points will you do it? Will you do
It's
it?
infinite, isn't it? It's a horizontal plane.
Well, that's not practically possible, is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's what
No,
the
it's
tools
It's
are
not
for.
practically possible. It happens in reality, Funk.
Oh, so you're measuring every millimeter from 1 kilometer.
The
When
tools.
you create a horizontal plane, every millimeter along that plane is on the plane.
Yeah,
And
but
that
you
plane,
you
that
haven't
plane
measured
is
that point.
extendable. The plane is extendable as far as you want.
Sure, you can create that line to be extendable as far as you want, but it doesn't mean that when you're measuring it at every point that it's the same. You don't know until you measure that. You're assuming it to
Funk,
be a
that's what the
straight
water
line.
level does. The water level is providing you with that measurement of the plane.
Yeah.
You really don't understand how this works, do you?
Can I just interject?
I
Funk,
think I-
just a minute. What you've just said is that we need to measure that a horizontal plane is as mathematically described and practically used throughout industry for centuries, millennia, right? You're saying that we need to prove that to you because you seem to have lost the people that have told you that it curves?
I never said that. I didn't say that at all. I don't
But-
know where you get that from.
Well, we're
What-
talking about a horizontal plane.
I
And
know
you're
that,
saying
but
that we
you
need
added
to
a
measure it
huge-
to be
you
able
added
to
a
know
proof of
that it's
merit.
horizontal.
You added a huge narrative to it.
No.
I don't know why. Like these people who are tricking me and all that. I don't know why you did that.
The people that are tricking you. And I've never said anybody tricking you.
Yeah, you said you added a bunch of.
Yeah, I
narrative.
said
That's why
that
I'm
you
gonna-
can't
I'm just
find
gonna
the
ignore-
people.
I'm just gonna
You
ignore
say people have told you it curves. You don't seem
I
to know
did-
who they are. And
I
on
did
the
told-
back of that, you are telling us that we need to measure that a horizontal plane is indeed horizontal, straight, without any curvature. I don't know. What is it you are trying to say?
I did actually add a person last time I think I was here, but I don't think you guys like that.
I haven't got a
Jesse or
Sorry?
Jesse, is that the guy you know?
I don't know. Is it who's that?
I'm gonna look for that.
Yeah.
Oh no, we love Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love him.
You know who he is?
I don't know. What's his second name? Like why we don't know.
I know lots of Jessies.
I have
actually.
to look
There's
for
a-
my notes.
I can remember an
Most of the
80s
girls-
song about Jesse Jackson.
Jesse's girl.
No. Yeah.
Is that your first name that you're providing? Is Jesse?
My
Can I
mate.
breathe now?
I've got a mate called Dave. Dave, my mate Dave.
Dave down a pub.
Yeah, said a curve. He went, watch out
Nice
for that
bloke,
curve.
Dave. Nice like Dave. Yeah, nice and fat.
Okay, MacToon, does that say anything to you guys?
McToon told you about curvature.
He didn't tell me, but he posted. I haven't called him or anything.
Nice.
It's not Mac.
That's
it's
okay.
MC.
Well, that's one of them. We can definitely have a word. He's on holiday, and I heard that Cleary he wanted to have a. Didn't he? He wanted us to go over there and have a word with him and Jeff.
Yeah, you can talk to him if you want.
Yeah, is he the best one then? Was he the one that told you?
No, but he did this. I believe they don't do this using theodolites anymore. That was something they did a long time ago. Now
Old
we
school.
have,
Hang on. Don't do
we
what?
have satellites.
Don't do what anymore
Uh,
using the other lights.
Measure the shape of the Earth.
Measure what shape?
The shape of the Earth.
What shape?
Whatever shape it has, doesn't matter.
So what didn't they do with the other lights?
I don't think they to establish how the shape of the Earth is anymore. They don't use theodolites. I believe they use other methods, satellites, drones, etc.
But you just stated earlier that those instruments cannot be used to determine your claimed shape of the Earth.
Curvature. I told you how you would infer it.
Infer. We're not talking about inferring. We're talking about measuring. There is a
Okay.
big difference.
You can take
You should learn the difference between inferring something and measuring its physicality.
Well, using a theodolite, you cannot measure the shape, the curvature directly,
Well done.
because you have discrete measurements.
So any theodolite measurement that claims to have measured the curve, by your statement, is now null and void.
No, because they can infer
no,
it.
hang on. No, you can't infer. We're talking about measurements, not inferring something.
Well, I would say it's completely reasonable to infer that.
No, it's not completely reasonable to infer a measurement that is made by a tool that cannot measure what you're inferring. That is not a reasonable claim at all.
Well,
Infer a straight line,
actually,
so
that video we were watching the other day.
The machine, the theodolite is designed to do that.
you're creating the theodolite creates a straight line. It doesn't mean that it's reality.
Word, your contradictions are just running
No.
so deep.
You guys are
Unbelievable.
No, it's not.
The theodolite creates a straight line, but that doesn't mean it's reality.
You are creating a straight line, yeah, from point A to B. It doesn't mean that every point for every measurement point between A and B, it's a straight line following that
Is
straight
that
line.
horizontal line that you create eventually going to deviate away from the ball at some point?
Yes, it does. That's why we see. Yes, thank you. So that's why you see, for example, objects in the distance, why they are behind water, underwater. Looks like it's underwater.
Water
That's
looks
also
like
why.
it's underwater.
Yes, it's not. We know that it's not
I've
underwater.
never seen water that looks like it's underwater.
No, objects which looks like it's underwater.
Which object? Was it you that claimed the horizon is underwater?
Any object.
Who was it that came there and claimed their horizon's underwater?
So interesting. Let's switch the topic.
No, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I can't remember that one.
So any objects in the distance, they are dropping behind the horizon, under the horizon.
Oh, so that's underwater.
Ah, physical. Yeah,
It's not.
the horizon is a physical
not.
place as a distance.
It's not.
A geometric edge.
It's not. It's not underwater, but from
you
where
said
you look,
things look like they're underwater.
yeah, it does look like that, doesn't it?
No, no.
Things look like they're underwater.
Disappears into
Fish.
the horizon.
Fish. Fish look like they're underwater.
When half of the mountain is hidden behind the water, where is that mountain then?
Have you seen Spot On's loft? Have we ever shown you that?
No, but I asked you a question.
Yeah, well, it's a valid response. If you don't look out for it, it'll be coming. We'll be doing a special.
So I have to look for the answer myself.
Yeah, we can't go into that's a whole nother topic.
It's
but
not actually very easy though.
things.
It's just that
things can disappear on a plane. You can make things disappear.
Can make it okay.
Yeah.
It also completely supports the idea that the Earth is curving though. So.
No, if we can get things to disappear on a horizontal plane.
Outrageous idea to think about it when you actually see that thing is actually curving away from you and dropping behind water.
Yeah.
Things shrink in angular size with distance. Perspective compression is a function of distance.
No, it's not. No, it's not what I said because you can see the.
No, it's not what you said. It's what Cleary said. Cleary asked you a question.
Yeah.
He wasn't confirming what you said.
And I say no, that's not what you see. Then I say no, that's not.
And it's not about what you see. Cleary, do you want to ask your question again?
Did you ask a
So
question?
do things shrink in angular size as they go away from you? Is perspective compression a function of distance?
Yes, the angular size decrease, yeah.
As a
When that
function
ship
of distance.
disappears, it just got too small to see, right?
No, because you can see the top half of the boat. Or you can see
Oh,
the
you're
top
talking about
half.
an inferior mirage.
No, I'm just talking about it being disappearing
imagining.
half. It's not imagination. We have pictures.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen those. I've seen things shrink as they go away. I've seen things get miraged. I've seen atmospheric lighting extinction occur where you just can't see things anymore. I've never seen anything go over a curve.
I've got a question for him. Funk,
Yes.
can water support itself?
If you have it, what do you mean by support itself?
Well,
it doesn't
like
compress. Doesn't compress
Don't
itself.
ask me a question and talk all over me. Like building a sandcastle. Could you fill a bucket full of water, turn it upside down, lift the bucket off, and have the shape of the bucket?
No, it would float all over the place.
So water cannot support itself.
Well, if that was your definition of support, then no.
Good.
What else do you think support means?
You cannot have a curve then, can you?
Yes, because you are not taking into account the gravitational field at all. You're literally thinking that it's a tiny gravity field right where you drop the bucket, which is supposed to contain it.
Make the mistake of thinking that we have
Show
to.
me water supporting itself. It can't. It always levels out.
Well, I can give an example where you can change this. If you have a centrifuge and you spin that, you have the water curving inside it. It's not falling out of it, right?
Shoots
It's
away from
conforming
it.
to the. It's conforming to the force applied to the water.
To the outside.
But if you stop the centrifuge,
Wouldn't be on the
water is
inside, would
gonna
it?
The water would pour out, right?
Right now,
For the same reason.
now put the water on the outside of the centrifuge and see what happens. Not on the inside.
Well, that's obviously gonna fly outwards because the direction of the force is directly out from the centrifuge.
So gravity doesn't exist then?
No spinning, no motion. Thank you very much.
I don't know how you got that from that, but
Well,
that's
you're
just
saying-
that's one way to create that. It's one way to create a force.
You're saying gravity applies equally everywhere, and we've just given a demonstration where gravity doesn't apply.
Water cannot support itself. Full stop. That absolutely blows your theory completely out of the water, so to speak.
I don't know why you said that. I just told you how you can make it not make it so that this bucket theory goes down the drain. Because my whole idea,
On a frigging
my whole,
centrifuge. You
my
lunatic.
whole,
We don't live
my
on
whole
a
theory,
centrifuge.
this whole theory is based on that we have a force is acting on the water, and the whole theory is that water conforms to that force.
The theory.
Say my. Did you say my? This is your personal theory.
And when you spin the centrifuge, you see that the water conforms to that force.
Have you done what tests have you done to support this theory of yours?
And that's well, we have a lot of things that work. Which
there's a few of you helping you with your theory.
Like the surveyors, it's the many surveyors.
It's a company.
Did you find your mate Jesse's last name? Yeah.
You are about to have your stupid fucking theory completely blown out of the water. It does not work. Water cannot support itself. It will lie flat.
Yeah, it will conform itself to any force applied to it.
You can't conform to a force. It conforms to the container, not the force.
Okay, so my centrifuge isn't working then, is what you're saying.
Is your centrifuge a magical spinning force or a container?
It's creating a force on the water.
No, don't tell me what it's creating, okay? Show me what it is. Is it a force that you can show me, or is it a physical object that contains the water that you can show me?
I can show you the force and I can measure the force.
Okay, if you can show me the force, what does it look like?
It's a number. It's not something you can have in your hand.
So, when you say force, you're actually talking about a number.
No, it's something in reality. But
okay, so in reality, what is it? Show it to me.
It's something that makes something move. It's acceleration.
It's something that makes something move. Can you move something without touching it?
I can move. I can't personally move something. I can.
No, I'm talking in the universe. Do you think the universe can magically, with telekinesis, move an object, or there needs to be some kind of interaction?
I wouldn't limit myself to any ideas. If it does, then it does.
Uh-huh. So no ideas on how this force that you don't really know can make water curve, but it can. Okay, I got you.
No, we have observations and measurements on this force, but
You observe water in a curved formation or it laying flat?
no, I'm talking about the force itself, gravitational force.
Okay, but you said the force is a number, and it's something that's something, right? That's your idea of what this force
No.
is. It's something that's
For-
something.
A force is actually something which makes something accelerate.
Okay, do you know that force is a conceptual term to describe a physical push or a pull in dynamics?
That's what I said. It's something that makes something move.
Oh, no.
Accelerate.
Okay, so that something must be physical, right?
It can be whatever it want to be.
No, can it be God?
If it's happening, it happens, right? It doesn't
Okay,
have
well,
to
can it
be.
be God? Well,
It can be God. You could say that.
okay, so you're saying God is the physical thing that makes the water curve?
No, because we actually observe that mass is creating this
No, but
gravitational.
how? How does the Earth curve the water?
It doesn't. This measurement, it doesn't care about how it does. It just observe. Okay. Thank you for that nonsensical input. Okay, so it does. It just measures it to do that. That's all it does. It just
Okay,
describes.
when did you measure this hump of water?
Okay, so we're gonna move to water.
Who measured it, please?
You're the one that's saying it.
Oh,
yeah, you're saying
yeah.
that we have this force is measured. I don't need to know how magically Earth makes this hump, but I've measured it. Okay,
fact
so how did you
that-
measure this magical hump?
The fact that we have a horizon is something that is only possible if we actually have to have an edge. You basically have to have something curving away.
Okay.
Or it has to
So,
be.
in your world,
Nonsense come out of one
you
person.
believe you believe the only way to have a horizon is that we live in a ball. That's what you believe, right?
It doesn't have to be a ball, but it's definitely curving
Or it
away.
could be a big square. Okay, so maybe on top of a half dome, but whatever. So you're
Yeah.
telling me so you believe without the physical structure we're standing on curving away, there cannot be a horizon, right?
No, it would have to be something to have a horizon. That's basically a edge of something, right?
You're asking?
That's his.
No, I'm not asking. And if you're on a flat plane, I would ask you guys, where is this edge we see?
Doesn't need to be an edge.
Okay. What if
we see an edge?
In the sky and the ground.
Yeah, I don't believe there needs to be an edge. So I can explain it, right? You won't believe my explanation, but I'll give it to you. I believe we live in some sort of rendering, like a simulation type thing, and what we can see is just a rendered area around us, right? So when you stop seeing, it's just you don't have anymore. Now you'll say I don't believe that, right? Just like I don't believe your explanation, but the idea is that we both
don't have the truth. We have what we believe based on what we can see.
Wow, what happened then?
It sounds like your mic just popped.
Yeah.
You turn on your correct mic.
Oh, hang on, I think I gotta.
Hey, it was good. Leave it like this. No, fuck. It was very good.
Funk, water cannot support itself. End of story.
Yeah, and just because you see a horizon doesn't mean that the water's supporting itself. Like, you got to think of a logical, what if it's just a huge expanse of flat water and it just happens to fade off into this undiscernible area we call the horizon, which is not a physical location. You can't go there. You can't stick a flag in the edge of the ball that you're standing, or the edge of the object.
It's not a place you can measure the distance to, is it? If it was your
Mm,
physical edge, then you would be able to measure the distance to it.
Can measure.
What would a horizon look like on a flat plane?
That's
Would
my
you be able to
question.
see if I was waving at you?
What we see.
And that's
20
my
miles an
question. What's your explanation of a horizon on a flat plane?
Well, I would say it would raise to like eye level-ish, right? So like, because the ground is below you, but now it's coming out. Okay, so now on a picture on a flat plane, one of two things are either going to happen. You can't see nothing but ground, right? What would you just see? Ground in the sky? Like the ground wouldn't go up. So there would have to be.
That's
so
the
now you would see the
definition.
sky now. Yeah, there would be a point where the sky and the ground appear to just converge, right? On a flat plane.
That's
this is
the
what would happen
definition.
on a huge flat plane.
That's the definition.
So this is how I see it, and this is exactly what we see. We see the sky and the ground just kind of dissolving into themselves, and then when you can go forward, and it'll kind of they'll open back up, but then you have a new sky and ground that dissolve into each other, and you're chasing this thing. It's not like you're on an object that you can start marking geographically this drop in this curve. It's like a ghost you chase or shadow. You'll never get it. You know, it definitely gives the illusion. You know, the illusion really, when you look at it, is not of a curve. It's of like a sinking decline, right? Because things don't tilt away; they just sink in, which is like going kind of downstairs on a grade.
What is the definition of horizon? Can you look it up?
Sure, but if you want me to look it up, you can just look it up yourself. Why do I have to do it?
Oh, I know the definition.
He's asking you what you think the definition is.
He didn't ask. He asked me to look it up for him. But sure, I can tell you.
He didn't ask you to look it up for him.
Okay,
You're
I can.
hearing things now, aren't you? As
Oh, he
as
says-
saying rubbish. You're hearing things.
I can give you my definition of what I think is correct. It's
Your definition.
right. It's
The
where
definition.
the land meets the sky or the air
That's
or what you want
real
to call it.
close to the real definition, and that's what happens on our flat plane. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Yes, but it doesn't. You have no explanation as to why the horizon is where it is.
And you do.
Or you actually? Yes, we have a
Right at the
that's
junction of
the,
where the land meets the sky. Where
yeah.
else is it meant to be?
Where is that? You guys need to explain me. Where is that?
It's the apparent position where the land meets the sky. I mean, it's where it is. We call
How
it.
far away?
Yeah, we
That's
call
a
it the
very important
horizon.
word. That's a very important word that Funk left out of his definition. Apparent.
Yeah, but I was wondering, where is it in your model?
It's over
Where
there.
it is.
It's over there, so you
Yeah,
don't know
when
why it's
you-
a certain distance.
It's an apparent position, dude.
I know it is, but
Can't be
still
measured.
we can,
You
still
can't
we can
measure
calculate.
apparent.
Yes, we can do that.
You can.
No.
Well, we
No,
can.
you
I
can't,
can't.
Funk.
Do you have some of your surveying buddies that can measure apparent?
If you have a flag,
Do they
which
measure
is,
apparent like they measure the curve?
if you have a flag 5 miles out and the flag is exactly at that horizon, you know the horizon is 5 miles away. I don't see the
Yeah, but-
problem with that.
You're measuring
Would
the
that not be
distance to the.
blocked by a hump of water? Sorry.
No, go on. You're also measuring the distance to the flag, not the horizon.
Well, the
The-
flag
the-
is at the horizon.
Well, no.
It's
If you're at the flag,
I'm not at the flag. I'm looking at the flag from a distance, and the flag is at where I see that horizon to be from my point of view.
but you're not measuring the flag, the horizon, are you? You're measuring the flag.
The flag is at
distance
the
to
horizon.
flag.
But the flag is at the horizon. If the flag is at 5 miles and it's at the point of horizon,
And now,
and the horizon is 5 miles.
and now, get your P900 out, zoom in on that flag, and you will be able to see that the horizon is far beyond that flag.
I don't believe that. That's not what's
Well,
happening.
do it. If you
Well,
don't
I
believe,
believe-
go out and do it.
I zoomed in at things which are disappearing behind the horizon, and it doesn't. You can never see the bottom of it ever. You zoom in with whatever telescope you want, never appears again.
Can you see the top
But
of it?
I was asking you. I'm defending my idea why there is a horizon, and I don't see
the
any of
top
you
the
guys.
things that are disappearing on the horizon.
if you see the, that's the problem, right? You're seeing only the top of it
Okay. What's so
All right,
important
Colin.
about the bottom?
because it's behind
You're
the
shooting
water.
it all. Good shit. You're not supposed to see it at all.
You want me to tell you
It
something,
depends on the distance to it. So
Funk? If you're a 6-foot observer at sea level, how far away is your geometric physical horizon?
I don't remember. I have to calculate.
3.1 miles, right?
Sure, that could be.
3.1 miles. So how far away is the sun when it rises up over the geometric physical edge of the horizon?
How far away the sun is?
Yeah, when it rises. 3.1
It's
miles.
the same distance.
Okay, so the sun in a 12-hour day travels 6 miles across your field of view.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Exactly.
The
Think
sun
about
is
it.
x 100 miles, 100,000 kilometers away. I think
Yeah,
it's.
but you've only got a 6-mile field of view, according to you.
No, I never said that.
No, you've got 3 miles horizon to one side and a
Mhm.
3-mile horizon to the opposite side. That is a 6-mile field of
circle
view.
around. It's a circle around you. Yeah. That's basically any object further than that.
All right, so the
is,
sun spends 12 hours in that 6-mile field of view.
It depends actually on where you are on Earth, though. It's
I'm talking
less
about
here.
6-foot observer at sea level on an island in the middle of nowhere.
Well, the sun isn't 12 hours.
Say you're in a position.
Stop obfuscating and deal with the point.
Well, his point, he said it's 12 hours, and it's not.
Right,
where I
if you're on the equator, then roughly you have a 12-hour
Yeah.
day, 12-hour
Yeah,
night.
that's-
Okay, so say the island is on the equator, giving you 12-hour day, 12-hour night. Now
Sure.
deal with the point.
So what's the point, Clary?
Sorry, I'm
6
kind of
mile,
busy.
6-mile
yeah.
field of view. Try that one.
6 miles field of view? What do you mean? The distance to
You're
the
looking
horizon?
at the distance to your physical geometric horizon where the sun comes up over the physical edge of that ball is 3 miles away. And then you turn around and look west after 12 hours of that sun being in your field of view, and it sets over the geometric physical edge of that ball.
Yeah,
The sun
it
in
has-
that 12 hours has only traveled 6 miles through your field of view on a ball. Is
6
that what you
miles?
experienced?
No, we rotate, and it's actually in the same spot all the time.
Okay, so yeah, wow, you're a tough one on this one. Relative motion, but so yeah. If you can't understand that, I can't really help you, but maybe you'll
But
understand it
field
later.
of view, it's not. It's a bit. You're using field of view, and in my opinion, that's related to angles, not miles. Like what? Why? How wide can I see?
An angle over a sphere edge?
Well, you said my field of view, and when I'm thinking about field of view, it's related to angles, not miles. How
Like
is
you
that
say your
like
field
a
of view is
radius?
like you say your field of view is 180 degrees horizontal to horizontal.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
If
It
you're
could
out
be.
on an island in the middle of the ocean, looking at the
Yeah.
water, 6 miles is all it is. It's impossible, right? Because the sun, when you see it rise, say in the east coast of the United States, it's high noon in Africa. It's 3,000 miles away horizontal distance.
Sun?
I'm not talking
Are you
about a
saying that
vertical
the sun is 3,000 miles away?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's 3,000 miles away from you before it's overhead. High noon in one place, sunset in another, sunrise in another. Horizontal distance is about 3,000 miles. That's a hell of a
Oh,
field
did you
of view.
actually? did you actually triangulate the distance to that?
Actually triangulate the distance to that.
To the
I'm
sun?
talking about it. I'm not talking about the height of the sun, the non-physical electromagnetic radiation source. I'm talking about the horizontal distance on this plane of existence we're on. It's high noon, 3,000 miles away when the sun rises at your location. That's your
it's
field
high
of
noon.
view.
It's high noon and the sun is directly above you, right?
Right.
Yeah, and
Somewhere else.
then
Somewhere else, 3,000 miles away, it's high noon. When that sun comes into your field of view, that's how far away it is. Not how high it
oh
is.
yeah, no, I know what you did. I know what you did.
You
yeah,
have
that's
one
actually,
hell of a field of view.
You did actually sort of triangulate there.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not talking about the height of it.
I actually, yeah.
I'm talking about your field of view, your 180-degree field of view for a
Is the
12-hour
point
day
of your life to sit
is
in Japan?
6,000 miles. You are not on a ball, sir.
Why are you saying field of view 6,000 miles? What do you mean by that? Is it
How
like
many times do I have to tell you the same thing over and over?
He's painful. He is deliberately being obtuse.
No, I'm not, because if I
Can
can see
anybody here
something,
explain what I just explained to him? Anybody here can?
if I'm, can somebody else explain it to me?
You have, if you're standing on an island in the middle of the sea, you've got a 360-degree view of the horizon all around you. You've got the sun rises to your left and sets to your right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you are claiming the horizon is 3 miles away.
Yes.
Right. The distance from the horizon on your left to the horizon on the right, going through you, is 6 miles.
Yeah, that's correct.
The sun travels 6 miles during the course of one day, rising on one horizon and setting on the other horizon.
That's I would never use it that way. That's
I don't care about you.
no, but like it's
This according to your model, this is what's happening.
no, it's just blatantly wrong. I'm not sure how you can derive that from. It's my field of view
You
is
are claiming that the horizon is 3 miles to a side.
Yeah.
Away from you.
That's the
That is
distance.
that is a total distance from one horizon to the opposite horizon of 6 miles.
Yeah, going through me.
6-foot observer going through you. The sun
diameter
rises on one horizon, sets on the opposite horizon.
Mhm.
That's 6 miles. That is really basic maths.
How is that 6 miles? Because
My
it's
life.
no, but
How obtuse
this
are you?
sun isn't moving.
Relative
What are you talking about?
movement. Relative.
Relative noon? I don't know what the hell you guys are talking
Okay, you're spinning on your ball. It looks like the sun's moving. 3 miles away from you, it rises. 3 miles in the other direction, it sets. Your field of view, sir, is 6 miles, 6.2 miles.
Oh, it's
10
180
kilometers.
degrees. It has 180.
180-degree field of view.
My field
Although
of
when
view
you see
has
that
nothing to
sunrise,
do. My field of view has nothing to do with miles. It's 180. I can see a dome
Talking
over me.
about horizon line.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do where this the
you're
distance
fighting
to the
yourself, man. You're just fighting
No,
yourself.
I'm not.
There you are.
No.
No, you need to draw this out for me. What the hell you're talking about?
Get Rumpus to draw it out for you.
Yeah.
My field of view is could say the celestial sphere I can see is about 180 degrees in the X and Y direction. That's my field of view of the sky. And the degrees does not give a damn about the distance to anything.
No further questions,
It
Your
doesn't
Honor.
care. It doesn't. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I'm
care.
bored with this as well. You're
does-
just obfuscating and being obtuse. It's just
I'm not.
ridiculous.
I don't know why you're adding the distance to as if
You are claiming that the horizon is 3 miles each side away from you. This is your claim. I'm not adding anything.
I know that. But what does it tell
so why
you?
did you say I don't know why you are adding the horizon? I'm not adding this. You are.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying that it. I don't know why the sun is. What's the problem with the sun moving over us?
The,
180
exactly.
degrees.
Exactly. You just said, what's the problem with the sun moving over us? There is
Mhm.
no problem with that. Welcome to flat Earth.
It
The
has
sun
nothing to do with.
moves over us.
Yeah, we are actually rotating, and the sun
No,
moves.
that's not what you just said. You just said, I don't see what the problem is with the sun moving over us. Well done.
Mhm.
Well done, Funk. You got there in the end.
If you want to.
No further
To
questions, Your Honour.
if you want
Bev, this
to
one's back to you, mate. I can't
misrepresent me, then
Please,
that's your
just-
problem.
If I'm
That's a good day for you,
misrepresenting,
Funk.
Yes, you did, because I corrected myself, and you still don't want to use that corrected version. You want to use the one where I misspoke.
but you didn't misspoke. It
I
was a
did.
Freudian slip.
Oh my god, you're really stretching for it.
No, I'm not stretching for anything.
I'm
It
gonna
was
come
you-
in here next time and act
It
like
was
I'm
you
a
that made the
flat
statement.
You'll be all happy because I'll confirm
Funk,
everything
Funk,
you
there's
believe.
no way out, man. There's no way out for
There
anybody.
is.
Not with that.
Oh man, I don't even understand what your point is, to be honest.
I know, but one day you will. 6 months from now, you'll go.
I don't think anybody will understand it because your
understand
idea of
exactly-
belief
I
is
understand exactly
several
his point.
hundred years old. You are so far behind in reality. You might laugh, but you guys know it's true. If you ask any person
Hilarious.
on the street and you ask them, is the Earth a ball or is it flat? What they're gonna say?
Yeah, well, they're ignorant, aren't they?
Yeah, everybody else
they
is
say.
ignorant.
I don't care
Everybody
what
else.
they say.
Everybody
care
else
what
is
they say.
ignorant except you guys.
Yeah. So can we get to talking about Scott Beach?
What? He's a good guy, isn't he? I like him.
You like him? Is he your best?
Well, he seems. I mean, for you guys as well, he's very kind, isn't he?
Is he measured the curvature?
I don't know what he's done, but he seems like a cool guy.
Funk, which one of the chat rooms can you see?
I can see.
Son of a beach.
Oh, you mean in the in your
live stream
I
text
see it.
or
I cannot see that.
debate discussion?
I can see debate discussion.
Right, I'm just going to drop something in debate discussion, right? I would like you to either agree or disagree to the statement that is written.
I'm gonna first of all, before I post it, I'm not gonna do that game. It's not a yes/no answer always.
No. This is just a statement from somebody else, and I would like you to either agree with this statement or disagree with this statement. That's all.
I might not only say yes or no. I might
Sorry?
add to it. I might not only say yes or no.
Cool.
Well, it's
Expand
entirely
away.
up to you. Yeah, if you want to expand on it, expand on it. Right,
Yeah, sure.
there you go. It's in debate discussion. Can you read that? This is a message to me from Chunky Brad Boy. Right? I'm having a discussion with him about theodolites being able to measure curve.
Yeah.
I say they can't. He says they can.
Well, I would add the answer I had earlier, and it's yes. No, it's no, but it's a inferring. You have to add it because you're doing discrete measurements. as I said earlier.
No, we're not talking about discrete. No, it's not discrete measurements, though, is it? We're not inferring. We're talking about direct measurement.
Yeah, but that's why I said I will add the context to it. I will just
No,
say
it's not context. Inference is not contextual. We are talking about direct measurements.
talking about to my answer.
Yeah, he can't go against one of his own, DP. You've got to give him his wiggle room. He needs that.
Oh, I'm just saying. I told you what I. If I were to talk to that guy, and I can ask him, yeah, but you don't really measure curvature. You're measuring discrete points.
But
And for every
point
you're
cannot
measuring
curve.
angle.
There is no curvature to a point. We established this earlier.
Yes, I agree, but that's just the limitation to the instrument measurement
No,
method.
it's not a limitation to the instrument. There is no curvature to a point. And the relationship between one point and the next point is linear. There is no curvature. Curvature is always inferred, and you agreed this earlier.
I said you infer either curvature or a line.
No, you do not infer a line. A line
do that.
is the direct relationship between one point and the next. The only thing that is inferred is your claim of curvature.
Reasonable inference to make
It's
to
not
say that it's
reasonable.
Oh, sorry. Let me say.
There is no curvature in a point. You've agreed this. There is no curvature in a line. The relationship between one point and the next, measured by a theodolite, is linear. There is no curvature.
Creating a line between those 2 points.
You
I
are
don't know how you
creating
can.
a line.
You do when you do this.
No, a line
Yes,
is
you do.
created between 2 points.
Not a line. You did create that line. You're saying it's a line, and therefore it's a line. And I say curve, and I have the reasoning for it. I can give my
different geometry, right? It's got to be.
Put a line between a curve between 2 points. The
Or-
relationship between the 2 points is linear. Always has been, always will be.
I don't think you can get to any. We're gonna disagree on that, but yeah.
No more questions, Your Honour.
Right. So, well, we seem to be stuck on this. You're inferring different sort of lines for different reasons, and you're inferring them at different times for different arguments. So, can I ask, right, again, I think we started this maybe the last time you came in here a bit earlier on, but you said we tried to establish geometry. And we went over the fact that, you know, a straight line is a line from in between 2 points, right?
In Euclidean geometry,
yeah, okay.
Straight line is shortest point from A to B.
Yep, so that's what we deal with. We're dealing with Euclidean geometry when we're doing most of the stuff here, right? Because that's the geometry of reality. When you imagine it or you infer it to be something other than a straight line, are you imagining a different form of geometry that you're inferring?
No, I'm just. We have to take into consideration that it might be not the shape which we shouldn't come in with any presumptions. Whether it's curved or if it's straight.
Geometry doesn't make any assumptions.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you're measuring.
Yeah, that you're using geometry, the practical use of geometry.
And the only assumptions are coming from you.
I'm not. I'm making some assumptions, but so are you.
No, we're just using geometry.
Well, I use geometry too to calculate.
You are inferring curvature in points and between points. This is an assumption.
You are inferring straight lines between points.
This is geometry.
Oh, it's not. It doesn't have to be.
This is
Can
a
be curved.
geometric truth.
It can be curved. It can be a wave. It doesn't have to be a straight line. Reality can be whatever you, almost whatever you.
Straight
want to be.
lines are straight lines. They don't change, do they?
Yes, but you create them. That's the point. You created that straight line. You say that it's a straight line because it's a straight line. You're creating
Yeah,
a
'cause
horizontal
it's
line. and
defined
saying
as so.
Yes, you define a straight line
Yes,
as a
through
straight line.
through geometry,
And
right?
you're creating a.
Yep.
Sure.
So you're
doing
just
that through
changing the
geometry.
definitions within geometry. That's why I'm asking you, which geometry are you using? Because all of the straight line and all of that sort of stuff is defined within Euclidean geometry. That's the geometry that we use. That's how we can be so sure about what we say when we say it, because it is checked through geometry. It makes logical, practical, and geometric sense. That's why
How would
it's
you,
geometry.
How would you measure it if it was a globe then? If it's impossible to do that with that tool?
What, have you just imagined impossible there? What?
No, I'm just saying you have to take
It's,
that.
it is practically
that
possible
valid.
to measure elevation changes. Yes. That is because we have tools that establish a horizontal, and we can tell the difference of the change in those horizontals through a vertical height difference. That yes, we have tools that can measure that. It is not impossible. It is very possible. People do
Kind of
it
tools.
as a job every day. Now,
What kind of tool is that?
the one that your surveyors that have measured curvature that you've still not told us anything, but apparently you've got a friend called Jesse.
I posted you. MC Toon.
Oh,
I was the name
okay.
Jesse.
Oh, Jesse was just a name that you came up with because you were struggling. It's not.
I don't know.
MC
But he's,
Toon's name isn't
it's
Jesse, is it?
Measurement specifically to measure this.
Don't be posting MC Toon stuff.
Yeah, watch out. Don't
Calm
be
down.
posting any of that.
No, guys. But anyways, yeah, you as we established now, you cannot measure curvature how do you say that word?
Okay. McToons has measured curvature though, right?
Yeah, well, there is things between the lines which he doesn't say. Probably, you can ask him.
Okay. Well, we will definitely now that you've said that he is.
He's inferring curvature.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, you don't know what's going on between point A and B. You only know point A and B.
But McToons is the man for us to ask about measuring curvature.
I would say that's one name. You can use. You can ask him.
Okay. Any others?
I would have to look. That's one I had in my Flat Earth notebook.
Flat Earth notebook. Wow, I bet that's
Yeah,
interesting.
sorry.
What other stuff have you got in there?
I can show you some juicy stuff.
Yeah. It took you a while to find the man that measured the curvature. What have you got?
you
Have you
mean
got
Newton?
yeah. Have you got anyone that's no, I won't go there.
I noticed that I found a video one time where I haven't found the original, the source, but it's a flat earther who called a surveyor and asked him questions about flat earth or something like that, and he said that the earth is that they have to take over. What he said was that over shorter distances, the curvature is so small you don't have to take it. It's negligible. You don't have to take it
A
into
single
account.
point?
You're
A singular point?
No, shorter distance.
Oh.
A shorter distance than a singular point.
Yeah, but that's, you could say that's a short distance. But I'm talking about measurements
Singular
over.
point is definitely a very short distance.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about 2 points of measurements, and it's and he said that if it's a longer distance, then yeah, you have to take into account.
What? So
that
what?
the Earth is
You've just said the singular point is actually 2 points, but you didn't actually qualify them. What sort of a distance?
He didn't clarify it in the video, and he didn't ask either what kind of distances.
Okay, so you don't know then what you've said. You've heard some guy talking to somebody else on the phone, being pretty vague about distances. Is that's your second best proof? Is it?
He said who he called though, and if I find a video, can Google the name of the guy.
Well, everything you've just said is a really vague statement about nothing.
I know, but that's all I got for now.
That's all you know. Just vague.
All I got for now. That's just gotta deal with it.
Deal with your really vague statement about nothing.
Yes.
I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to let it bother my head.
Yes,
Are you quoting Rumpus? Rumpus agrees with you that the ball is horizontal at a singular point. Is that who you're quoting?
No, it's a shorter distance than that.
Oh, even shorter.
Shorter than a singular point, yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a singular point. The horizon, you can create the horizon. If you create if you're at horizon line, or sorry, horizontal line. If you're at another point, that horizon line would be different than the first one you created. Horizontal line, sorry.
Yeah, you've never done any of this practically. We're just imagining this sort of stuff again.
No, I can imagine the principle and the concepts, but I have never done anything in practice.
You keep getting horizontal lines and horizon views. Maybe it's the same thing.
Corrected myself right away, didn't I?
What is the definition of horizon? Or
I told you 15 minutes ago.
no?
Yes.
He said it was the apparent.
No, he missed the word apparent.
Oh yeah. Oh right, that was me.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry. Yeah. What's the definition of horizontal?
Oh, I've got a few good
horizontal.
ones. At right angles to the vertical and parallel to level ground. Flat or level or near, on, or parallel to the horizon.
Yeah.
To the horizon.
Good definitions.
Yep.
Depending on the usage, how precise you want to be.
Yep. Parallel to the horizon. Horizontal is parallel
Precision.
to the horizon. That's very good, that. Is that like mathematics?
But the horizon isn't perfectly. It doesn't matter if you're living on a sphere or a flat plane. But if you have a horizon line around us.
Well, you see, one of them said flat or level.
Yeah, but
my
point.
Yeah, sphere is a non-developable surface, so you can't have it flat and spherical. I mean that.
No, I'm
like
saying
it's like an oxymoron, isn't it? A flat sphere.
I'm talking.
It's nearly as silly as a curved straight.
Well, why do you make up your own definitions? Why don't you go and read the definition of horizontal?
I haven't said anything about the definition. Why are you saying I'm making?
Well, how do you define horizontal?
I can do that. I said
You can
this,
make it up.
this
You
definition
can make
is
shit
good.
up, or you can look at the definition.
Well, didn't I say just now that I think this sounds like a good definition, the one I posted?
Yeah, it's got another good one here, this one. Science and technology. Do you like that? It's a good one. Horizontal, science and technology. Being in a plane perpendicular to the gravitational field. Right? Perpendicular to a plumb line at a given point on the Earth's surface. What about that?
Yeah, that's precise.
That's a good one, that then. Plane perpendicular. That wouldn't be a point plane, would it? That would be a plane. Do you want me to get you the definition of a plane just to make sure? Mathematical. That would be science, wouldn't it?
Bev, what's the definition of a point?
Let me find this plane one first.
Yeah, I think this scientific one is more precise. It's less ambiguous.
Okay, so a plane in geometry, in mathematics, a plane is a flat, two-dimensional surface that extends infinitely far.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You created that plane. It doesn't mean that it's anything in reality. It's not like horizontal plane equals surface of the Earth.
A plane
You just created that plane.
perpendicular. It's a plane perpendicular to the gravitational field. Perpendicular to a plumb line.
And at a given point.
Yeah.
That's
But you see, the plane extends indefinitely far. So geometrically, geometrically, I'll say it again. Geometrically, Euclidean geometry dictates perpendicular to be perpendicular. Two straight lines.
But as it says, it's a horizontal plane, and it's at a given point, right? So you create a horizontal plane at a given point,
perpendicular to a plumb line.
Yes, perpendicular to plumb line. That's also a key factor.
Yep.
Right, and the horizontal plane is something. It's just something abstract. It's just a mathematical concept. We create a horizontal plane, and you can make it as large as you want in your head.
Let's see the next
one. Mathematical concept that doesn't exist in reality.
The next one says
Sounds
at
like,
right angles to the direction of gravity. Again, it says the G word. You like that? On the level. Well, that's good. Parallel to the horizon, neither vertical nor inclined. Yeah.
That's a very good explanation as well.
Horizontal, level, parallel to the horizon, at right angles to the direction of gravity, which would be vertical. So horizontal is at right angles, that's perpendicular. Yeah? So when we establish that level is horizontal and that's a straight line, then where does that, you think, leave all of the rest of the descriptions, right?
You forgot to mention at a given point.
It still applies. Yeah, at any point along the canal, you could drop a plumb line and it would be perpendicular to the level, the horizontal of the water level.
What's the first one you created? If you create two different ones,
anywhere along, it would always be perpendicular.
Those two horizontal planes will not be the same.
Yeah, they will. It's the same horizontal. The water is the same horizontal, right?
What's the point of defining at any given point? At a given,
It gives you chance to imagine what like you are imagining now, but you're not fully embracing the geometry of the straight line that the horizontal is. You're still imagining bendizontal.
No, I'm not saying that, because as you are doing with these straight lines, you're creating them, and this horizontal plane is just something you create on a piece of paper or in your head.
No,
you're just
there are tools to do this. This is what surveyors work with. The tools to establish the horizontal. That's
you created, right? But it doesn't mean that it's conforming to what reality is.
What the tool that we use in reality to measure the land around us isn't part of reality?
The tool is part of reality, but you're creating a horizontal line, or a plane, if you will, as an idea. It's not in reality.
There's the crosshairs. That's what we measure. We look at through the crosshairs.
Yes, and that is you're creating a horizontal plane which is infinitely large. And I don't know, and that's a helping tool to use as a calculation, because it's very easy to calculate against something that is flat and straight. So if there's an angle between something, it's very easy to calculate.
You just it's an auto level with a horizontal. Where's the angle? Did you just imagine that in quickly at the end?
If there is an angle, I'm saying that there has to be, but regardless, if it is an angle, then you have something to measure against.
What angle do you think the horizontal is at then?
Horizontal is I would use that as a reference point, so that's
okay. So
I could say that's
so
0.
The tool is the reference, right? The tool establishes the horizontal that you use as a reference to measure the distance of the land away from the horizontal, right? That you set your tool establishes.
Could you repeat that?
You use a tool to establish the horizontal, and then you measure the distance vertically from that horizontal that you set. That's what the surveyor's tools do.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
You measure the angular distance between the point, or you can use a stick in the end.
Yeah, you just measure a distance, vertical distance from the land.
Yeah, you can use that
to the horizontal that you just set.
I'm saying if you know the angle between what you're measuring between, and you know the distance, then you know the vertical distance.
You just measure it.
But with the way you said it, it sounded like you put a measurement stick, which you know that, for example,
like I can't. It's pretty obvious, Funk, that I'm not going to be able to teach you anything about how surveyors work or anything. You've not looked into it, and although you've come round here and you've talked to us many times, you don't seem to have taken anything in. So I don't think there's any particular chance of me explaining to you personally. No, I think a lot of people that might have been listening, they might have got something out of it, but it definitely won't have been that you made any sense about, or you know anything, or you've even taken anything on that we've said.
I have made
perfectly
reasonable explanations to everything. But...
Thank you for helping everyone learn, Paul.
Yeah.
It just seems that you have to explain the basics to him every time he comes here.
Yeah.
He doesn't grasp anything you say, Bev.
Tell me what I don't understand.
Right, how many times have you been here? This is 3-4 times you've been here, and every time Bev has to explain to you the basic principles of how the surveyors work and what tools they use and how they use them and the principles behind the tools that they use and the basic geometry behind the tools that they use. Why should Bev have to waste his time with you every time you come here, going through the same shit over and over and over again?
It's you guys who initiate.
Do that?
It's you guys who initiate the debate every time on these topics. It's not
No, hang on.
never
You come
me.
in here. You come in here.
I come in here and you guys start talking to me about this. If you don't want to explain it to me, then just don't do it. I never asked you guys.
Why don't you turn this around, Funk, and actually learn something?
So what, you just want to sit in here and listen?
Well, I have asked other people about this, but they seem to conflict with how you guys explain it.
Oh, McToons, did he? How long did McToons spend explaining to you?
I read his article. It was very
No, you
precise.
read his article, so he didn't explain anything. to you.
Very precise, and it was very explanatory.
So
Thought,
nobody
come
has
up.
explained anything to you. You have
Yes.
read an article.
Well, I can read. That's how I learned
But
a
that
lot
is
of.
not somebody explaining something to you.
Well, I
Must have
can
been a
read, and if
pretty
they say
powerful-
the words, or if I read the words, it's the same shit.
Pretty powerful words, then, right? McToon.
It's not.
It's a pity people strike us for getting stuff off his site. It might be.
I don't know. But anyways, they seem to conflict with how you explain things to be, and yeah, what they say what they say makes sense. It's logical to me. It's reasonable. Every explanation they're given. It's also confirming what I observe myself. What
but
I
hang
see.
on a minute.
myself.
You start with the premise that lines can curve between 2 points.
No, it's observed that way. We don't have to
It's
assume.
not observed that way at all.
It's not even in the geometry.
Well, it's when you do an observation between 2 points. Those 2 points
Listen,
are not.
Funk, you've just said it again. When you do, right, you're talking to us that when we do an observation, have you ever done that yourself?
Or a person do this.
Have you ever done that?
I've never done it, and it's
No, right.
doesn't-
So why are you telling us what we will see when we've actually done it ourselves and we can see for ourselves? Why are you telling us what we should see?
If I do it myself and I say, "See here, this is what
If
happened,"
you do it yourself, then you
just
will
say-
know what happens and you won't
Then-
have to
then
imagine.
you're gonna just say no. No, that's not true.
Why would
I'm just
why
gonna
would
be
I?
one of
Why
the-
would we say that?
Because that's what you're saying to what everybody else is measuring. which is
Have you ever done it?
It doesn't matter because
Who's measured this?
MC Tune, for example.
MC Tune hasn't measured anything.
Well, he did. He did show a video.
You've just claimed that I have said that other people are telling lies or whatever, right? Who are these other people that I have said? Who? Please give me some names. You keep saying these
I can give you
other
a-
people. You've give us McToons.
MC Tune.
McToons. He's Scottish, isn't he?
I don't know. I'm gonna show
I'm
you.
sure
this.
he's Scottish heritage.
Like McDonald's.
Yeah. He's definitely not an MC, so you can't be using that. I'm sure he's Scottish. He said that.
I could ask McToon right now whether he's ever measured anything. He'll tell me no.
He's never got
Jesse-
a big bunker, the same as you.
Jesse Kozlowski. He's the one who did it.
Right, so you're just throwing names up in the air, right? And you are taking yes you are, and you are taking these people at their word, right?
Well,
And
now
they-
you just did what I said you would do. You would just disregard it as false.
No, you just
so if
cut
I
me off. You just cut me off halfway through my sentence. If you let me finish my sentence,
sure.
Bev has been out with a theodolite and a water level
An auto
for
level.
and an auto level for 3 consecutive weekends, at least
The
3
last 3
consecutive
weekends,
weekends. This is along the length of a canal. He has spent countless weekends doing little tests in his back garden just as a proof of concept. Okay, Bev has got off his arse and he's going out there and doing shit. MC Toons is a clown who just sits on his sofa getting stupid bits of data from other people. And you are the same as MC Toons.
Oh, look.
That's why I gave you this Jesse Kozlowski.
That's not
I give
Jesse.
you a name.
That's not Jesse
Who takes that
Kozlowski.
from?
What are you doing? Are you getting mixed up?
No,
They're not the
sorry,
same.
he did
What?
the JSL test. That's not his name. You're right about that.
Jesse may infer things to you, but he never tells you what you think you're hearing. He
He's,
talks about tilt.
We
He
had to
doesn't
look,
tell you
Cleary.
anything. What's that?
Return of the plumb lines. Still
Oh, really?
not parallel. That's the video that he's actually give us.
Wow.
What's his original
Jeff.
test?
Jeff special. He thought Jeff was Jesse.
Aha. Where's this in debate?
In the debate discussion, yeah. Now we have actually got Jessica. You know what a reciprocal zenith angle is?
Yes, it's a measurement between 2 points. The angle, the zenith, the angle between the 2 zeniths.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? By the way it comes across. I mean, it does sound like a nice, simple little angular measurement from the zenith. It's not though, but it sounds like it. So I mean, people like you can go along thinking that. Do you know what reciprocal means?
Oh, tell me what it measures.
Pardon?
No.
You don't know what reciprocal means?
Specifically, no.
Oh.
Yeah, so
But,
how do
but
you
you
know what a
just
reciprocal
quoted it
zenith
as one of
angle
your
measurement is.
It was one of your proofs that you've give us for Jesse Kozlowski, and you don't know what a reciprocal angle is, and you don't know what a reciprocal zenith angle or anything is. That's very good. I mean, how much did Jesse teach you then in that video that you've give
And
us?
all the stuff you've read from.
I don't know the word
website.
reciprocal.
How come you didn't learn anything from McToon's website? After
No.
having read.
The reciprocal zenith angle I understood, but the
Yeah, but
word
you don't know
itself.
what reciprocal means.
Yeah, that's my point. I don't know what reciprocal means.
Jesse
specific.
didn't tell you in the video. Why?
mean-
What? Wow.
Well, he explained the methods of the whole thing. Reciprocal angle measurement, he explained.
Yeah.
But not the reciprocal means this. He did not do that.
Okay, so what's a reciprocal angle then?
Well, that's what I told you. These not the reciprocal angle, but the reciprocal zenith angle is
Yeah.
a measurement of the zenith angle between 2 points.
Yeah, well, you know the zenith is just above your head.
It's a plumb line. It goes straight up.
No, because that a plumb line goes down. It doesn't go up, does it?
Yeah, well, it goes
It's
in
it's
both
like an
directions.
it's an astronomical thing, right? The
extend-
zenith is above
extend-
your head.
Yes.
And the
Extend the it's
nadir,
not just above your head.
yeah, and then
It's
the
not
nadir
just
is
above
below
your
your feet. So
not
it's a line for you to imagine.
Yeah, but it's if you extend that plumb line, that's the zenith angle. Zenith line going
Just
up.
a vertical, yeah. Everybody else can just imagine a vertical going straight
Mhm.
up. We don't need to call it.
100%.
We don't need to call it any fancy names, do we? Right. So that's what a zenith is. Now, an angle from the zenith is just an angle measured from that zenith line downwards, right? Any angle from that zenith. Yeah, You agree with that? That's what a zenith angle
Well,
is.
what are you measuring the angle between?
It's just the angle from the zenith.
Okay, what's that? What's the number?
It depends what you're looking at, doesn't it?
Give me an example then.
Well, let's say we've got a star 5 degrees off. Then the zenith angle will be 5 degrees. Because it's 5 degrees from the zenith, right?
Sure, yes.
That's just an angle. You can't infer anything from that, can you? Just an angle, and you know, like what you can do within trigonometry or anything like that. What can you do within trigonometry with an angle?
You can know the angular distance to something, or make triangles, or something like that.
You can't. You can only make one angle, surely.
If you know the distance to it, you can know the length.
But you've just got an angle. You've just measured an angle. So, like I say, what can you do with one angle in trigonometry?
You can't do a lot with just one angle.
Oh, brilliant, right? So a zenith angle on its own is useless, right? It's just an angle.
Yes, I would. In
okay,
this
so
field,
reciprocal. Do you want to know what that is in surveying?
I can guess based on what I read. The reciprocal, what it means. It means shared, felt, or shown by both sides, or of constituting or resulting from paired crosses in which the kind that supplies the. Oh my God! Not that one. That was a horrible.
That was
mutually corresponding.
Yeah, that's just looking up for definitions there, aren't you? Of reciprocal.
Yeah,
like, it just means there's two.
Yeah, it's related to each other.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's two surveyors, and they are both measuring the angle to a certain object, right? That's what reciprocal means. There's two people doing it, right? So a reciprocal zenith angle. What would you imagine that is?
That's what I said earlier. This reciprocal or zenith angle, that is, it's the measurement of the angle between the zenith from both sides.
Yeah, a reciprocal would mean it's like the average of the two, would it?
I mean, it could be. I guess it depends on how you. I guess they're not doing just one measurement.
Even out for error. Right, they take it from two different positions and take a reciprocal measurement and all of that. Right now,
yeah, and not only just one; they do many measurements from each side.
Yeah, because you would you do
Probably,
loads of but all you're doing is you're evening out the and having the average between all of them.
Yes.
Right. So. If you're doing two different measurements like that, and between two different points, so you've got two different things doing a measurement between 2 points, would you imagine that they can measure a curve with that?
No, as I said earlier, this is what I've explained many times. You're just measuring you're just measuring 2 points, so you know this.
I'll put a little thing in there for you for the reciprocal zenith angles.
Yes, this is probably correct.
Go on. You can have a workout of that, right?
I won't be able to verify that, but anyways, it's you're measuring.
Doesn't look like just an angle measurement, that though, does it? It almost sounds like it's a bit of you've been fooled, right, into thinking that it's just a zenith angle, right? With all of those calculations seem a bit different, right? It's not just an angle that you measure a few different times.
I can look up the ones I found earlier, which I actually looked at a little.
This one's from that one that I've got there is from the University of Cape Town, Geomantics. And I doubt it they'd be wrong. Like that says the basic equation.
The same source.
Basic equation of simultaneous reciprocal zenith angles. I mean, that's basically, isn't it? Simultaneous. That's what Jesse was doing, right? In that thing that you said is his.
Yeah. What's the? Could you give me an explanation as to what all the variables are in that equation? If it's a problem with that.
Get Jesse to explain it to you. Well, in fact,
but you said it
when Jesse comes, he can explain that to us, right? Exactly what this reciprocal zenith angles mean, because I mean it looks really confusing. We need somebody that knows a lot more about these things than we do, obviously, to explain this. So that's a good idea. We should definitely get Jesse Kozlowski to come, and he's got the reciprocal zenith angle projects, so he's doing more than one. So he seems like the man. Would you agree?
Yes, he should definitely explain this, since he did this.
That would be great.
But I'm wondering what's the problem with this calculation. I'm not sure if that's the one which is used.
Oh, Jesse might use a different one, you reckon?
I looked at the... I don't remember now, but I looked up something earlier, and he showed the calculations he did in Excel sheet, and I did verify them, and it was also understandable what he actually did calculate. But I'm gonna look up that again.
You think he was calculating Earth curvature?
From that, actually, he determined from that equation. He determined the radius of the Earth, actually, directly.
That's not what he did.
Oh, wait a minute. What does that say there? On the one that Thingy says, it's got where the height differences are more than a few meters or the range exceeds 2 kilometers, reciprocal leveling cannot be used. I mean,
Why does it say that?
I don't know. It does say that, though. It definitely says it on that thing there.
But why does
2
it say
kilometers. 2 kilometers is 1.2 miles.
Yeah, that's not very far at all, that really, is it?
Not at all.
No. Yes, and then if you do this measurement without within these parameters, it should be precise.
Wonder how far Jesse had in between his ones.
We'll
have to go over that. I wanted to go over later on tonight, Cleary, if you're right with that. We'll go live and we'll go over Sly Sparkane's 100 metre water level thing. Because Funkier's put us onto that today. We've started talking about that today.
That'll be great.
Yeah. Do you want to come back for that later on, Funk? Because you were working out all of these calculations and stuff, weren't you?
Yeah, I did verify these things he did the last time. I'm just gonna find the same video. Because he was in the woods where he did the... Not in the woods, but like it was on a mountain or something.
Well, do you want to try to break Chaiki's record? You can stay here for a couple more hours. You'd break Chaiki's record. I think his is about 7.5 hours.
Is it a competition for you guys to get us to leave? But when I've never seen Chaiki in there. I never thought he was in here. I thought he was only over at the... There was some like heavy discussion yesterday on the flat Earth debate science versus know what server I mean. Yeah, it was. I literally I know we disagree, but on a lot of things. But now I was hoping we could discuss more like normal people. Actually, on this server, I don't know what you guys think, but for many people, it's interesting to discuss and talk about these things, and we also think that it's can be very interesting to talk about these things, even though we disagree. But on that server, I'm a bit afraid that the Globers has gotten too much control, so that there might be some, I don't know, some form of you can call it anarchy or something like that, where I'm afraid that like what is his name, Quantum Eraser might just kick everybody out or something, or like start removing people, because it's a lot of Globers.
He allows the Globers to control that, so he'll always have a debate. Like the chat will always be busy, which keeps people there, which brings people to watch the show, which brings super chats. He runs it like a business. Like
I know
anything.
Yeah, I know he needs.
We don't. They don't do that here.
Right?
Yeah, they don't. I was thinking, Emma, they don't run the same kind of operation. From what I've seen, that's why I'm kind of over here. Yeah, I don't like being part of. Look, I don't mind donating my time, hours upon hours, and discussing an ideas and unique point of view, but don't, once I touch on something you don't like, cut the whole thing off and boot. You know, that's where you're like, yo, that's an echo chamber.
Yeah, well, it's not like that's what I like about that place, because many times it's very balanced. But I feel like the Globers are starting to get very, unless there is like, of course, the live stream when Quantum Eraser is in there, they just mute almost every Glober in there. But when you're in the after show, for example, they get like free Globers get very free playing field. They can but it's not a lot of them who get mod powers, though. It's a very it's unbalanced.
Hey, Funk, could we interest you in one of the domesticated primates' new globe security blankets? That's like being over there, you know, talking about globe concepts all day. Makes you feel good, right?
What?
But,
over there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We just talk about reality over here, though. It could be. Confusing.
They do.
Reality.
They do the same thing. They don't have this level thing so much, but I don't know. It's I don't know. There is a lot of Christian people who talk about God a lot, and it's actually a lot of discussion about religion over there. I don't find that very interesting, actually, but.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You believe in the stupid ball.
I could be religious and believe in the ball. I'm just not religious.
Let's go back to that level. Go ahead, Beth.
I don't think there's any way. What would you require, Funk, in order for you to like? Can you imagine of a method using the things that we've told you, that where you would be able to measure, let's say, tilt?
I would expect you guys to measure the reciprocal CNET angle and measure very close to 0. Then I would, because those angles should be the same if the Earth is not curving. If the Earth is not curving.
What you reckon over what was it? What about 1.2 miles? Well, I mean, we haven't got theodolites, but I'm guessing we might be able to do that if we can set a horizontal over 3 miles, let's say. Make a load of points along that 3 mile segment, right? So they're all on the same horizontal.
What elevation are they at? That's the whole.
They were all at the same, right? Because they would be on the same horizontal. Because that's how we measure it, right? So we put a load of points. So yeah, I mean, let me just finish. We put a load of points on this 3 mile thing, and they are all the same horizontal, right? They're on the same horizontal. So then what we could do is we could set up 2 auto levels at the same known height, above, we could make sure, because we've set the horizontal, and then we could do it over a mile and look at each of the auto levels, look at each other in the crosshair, and we could put.
He sparked something in my brain.
Yeah, this is a good one. This, I mean, I think this is the next one we've developed when we go to the Bedford levels. So we do that, and then we look at each other on the horizontal, and we can measure it as well. Because we've already established the horizontal on the mark, we would know what the actual horizontal is. Then as we're looking at each other, we could see whether they drop in distance away from each other. Because we'd know that the horizontal is horizontal. So if there was a drop, we would have to know that it was optical, right? That's yeah, thanks for that, Funk.
What? I didn't say anything.
That's a brilliant observation test, that.
Observation test?
Yeah.
You mean the reciprocal zenith angle?
Yeah, but we can't do it. We haven't got theodolites. So we just have to do it on the horizontal, right? Because of the auto levels, we have got auto levels.
But if you don't measure, that's the whole point of this measurement, is that if you're not if you're not measuring the if you don't know the elevation,
we do
and
know,
you're just
we do know the elevation. That's what we will be doing. We will establish that first. That's job one.
Not the at A, but not at B, point B.
Yeah, all the way along. We do it over the 3 miles. That was part of our initial test when Rumpus was going to go and do his Bedford level thing. We were going to go and do that first.
One thing I think should be possible is if you are doing if you're at point A and you create the horizontal line, and you're placing B on that horizontal line, like square dead center in it, then that point B won't look into the center point of point A. That's a good test, I would say. Easy and good test.
Well, yeah, but we've already done that. That definitely happens. It's a horizontal straight line. Yeah, we've already done that. But that's pretty basic. That's what the tool does. The tool establishes a horizontal. Really simple. Doesn't really need testing.
The second point, the point B.
Yeah, the calibration guys calibrated it.
Talking about the second point, point B.
The bit that you look at. The bit that you look at through the optics of an auto level.
But you need
that would be point B.
Yes, but
also
that point.
mentioned, sorry, Bev. Sorry, excuse me. Also, remember that you've done the loop.
Yeah.
So
close the loop.
You've gone close the loop.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means?
No, explain.
Well, I'm sure we did go over this. I mean, I think you've just. I mean, I do get mixed up because I do say a lot of things to most people, but you go one way and then you go back to your initial point to check for accuracy or errors.
Yeah, you're doing like a back and forth.
Yes, that's what closing the loop is, right? So when you end up, you are certain that you have established the same horizontal across the way. So we would do that at like 3 points over a 3 mile bit. One at 1 mile, one at 2 miles, and one at 3 miles. And then we can sight down them. Be pretty simple. But we could also do it with a reciprocal auto leveling thing. You don't need to do zenith when you do reciprocal. I mean, like reciprocal zenith angles. You saw that calculation, that weird stuff, right? You forget about all that. When we do reciprocal auto leveling, all we do is we just look at each other of the auto levels along the way. But we've already established the horizontal as a check. So we would know we were on the same horizontal. We would just get to see what we can see through the auto level optically over a long distance.
I think that would be a test also.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, thanks.
You know, the
sounds great.
Do
you reckon you get any of your guys to do it as well?
I can ask people if they have done it on the other forum. If anybody knows anybody who has done it.
Ask them if they've ever, like, whenever anybody brings up reciprocal zenith angles, I ask them if they've ever done any reciprocal auto leveling.
Reciprocal auto?
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, it just uses the horizontal, doesn't it? And it's a measurement from a measuring rod rather than an angular measurement like your guy does without that fancy calculation. All we do with reciprocal auto leveling is look at and measure the number through the thing. It's loads easier. You don't have that big calculation with your sine and your cos and all of that, working out fantasy numbers.
I think the whole point of it was that there was an angle between them, because the angle is the direct measurement, and that's something they see in that tool, the instrument they use.
Yeah, well, like, you know, the reciprocal, it goes over 90. Well, we already start off with our auto levels. They're already on that 90 mark. So rather than measuring an angle extra as the drop, we'd have our rods and we measure the numbers on it. And we make sure that them numbers add up to make it so that the numbers are the same. And that's how we work out the horizontal that we're on.
Okay,
it's,
so
it's
you're not
very direct measurement. There's no calculations involved in it, really, other than writing it down in a table and doing your
I'm
adding.
thinking like this levels, or if you have like a automatic one, which an instrument is able to figure out
fully charged automatic
where fully charged. Yep. It's able to figure out where the plumb is, and from when you know from where plumb is, you know where level is, right?
No, it just works out the horizontal.
Yeah, you figure out. We agree that horizontal and level is the same thing. So yeah. But when that instrument is able to figure out locally what the plumb is and where the level is from that, or the horizontal. And when you're doing I was wondering, is that the kind of instrument you are using when you're calibrating them to figure out where horizontal is?
No,
are you using that local?
The guys at the calibration place do the calibrating. Right, it's it's an industry standard. You have to have that calibration sticker in order to be absolutely certain that the tools that you're using are precision, right? If you don't have that calibration sticker, then you don't really know. You can be.
But I was wondering, this equipment you use, how do you know that the instrument is when you're looking through the scope or whatever, and it's across there? How do you know on that instrument where horizontal is?
It's got a crosshair, right?
Yeah, but like, how does it calibrate itself? Do you have to do anything yourself?
The calibration guys calibrated it.
But I mean, you just turn it on and just zoom, and then it's level.
Yeah, you would just all of the feet, make sure it's fully charged, give it a wind up, switch it on, and that's it.
And then it's okay, so it's like fully auto leveling inside it, auto leveling.
Well, you got to get the bubble near enough, right? The bubble still has to go in the center.
Yeah, is that like a rough calibration, sort of? and then it does like these more precise calibration inside its with a mechanism inside it.
It's auto. Yeah, once you've switched it on, wound it up. Yeah.
Okay. And then okay, sure, yeah. That was
Make
all
sure
I
you've
want.
got a good set of batteries for it, Bev.
Yeah, but fully charged.
Yeah.
I think this type of test should be a very good indication. And my question is, if you do like a leveling of that instrument at that point, so you have no your only reference point is plumb at that point.
What do you think it's going to be a good indication of?
It's going to be actually a good indication whether the plumbs are not parallel, or basically.
But we're not even.
What?
It's nothing to do with plums. Not even testing plums.
Keep away from my plums. No, we're just
Well,
testing that. We're doing a horizontal, right? It's an auto level.
Yeah, but horizontal is established from the plumb inside that equipment.
No. See,
How does it know
no.
where down is?
A plumb bob is a completely separate tool than a level. They're two independent tools. I mean, they are definitely perpendicular to each other, but they are independent, completely independent,
And exclusive of
each other. Yeah.
Yes, because I was talking about.
It's just a geometric fact, and probably why geometry is like geometry is, with right-angled triangles and all that. That the two are perpendicular to each other.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about plumb bob. I was just talking about plumb, like the force of gravity pulling on something inside that equipment.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
So
when the water
level, right? Tell us how you imagine that to work. Where's the plumb involved in a water level?
Pulling on the water.
And where's the plumb involved in a spirit level?
It's pulling on the water, and the water is more heavy than the air, so the air will go to the top.
There's no water in the spirit.
A level.
Isn't it? It's water with a bubble in the middle.
Okay.
That's the one you.
So that's
Spirit.
the plumb is acting on the surface of the water in order to make it horizontal.
Yeah, it's pulling on the water.
Okay, and the plumb is working on the spirit in a spirit level in order to put the bubble in the center.
Yes, but I'm talking about at the moment you turn the equipment on, and you said it's auto leveling. But if you're using the spirit level, that's not the only calibration, right? It's just a rough calibration.
Okay, how do you
What's happening when you turn it on?
calibrate a water level?
I don't think you need to calibrate that. It's just using the laws of physics.
Okay.
Maybe you need to be sure that.
What are the laws of physics that govern the water surface?
Every laws of physics, every law of nature.
All of them.
Them govern water. You cannot remove them. But the fact that you have
your plumb.
The fact that you
The
have
plumb is a natural law that the plumb makes the surface of water horizontal.
Yes, it's not a plumb, but it's a force acting on the water. Yeah.
That makes it horizontal.
Yes,
Surface horizontal.
but that's not so important because
Well, yeah,
what you said.
it is in the if you were dealing with the water level.
You're turning on the equipment. I'm wondering to you what's happening inside that equipment when you turn it on.
It makes some funny noises.
Yeah, but what's happening? How does it know?
Sounds like a lightsaber, actually.
What does it know
cool.
when you? Yeah, but that's a very. You're just trusting the equipment. I'm just wondering what's going on inside that equipment. How does it? Because it does some adjustments. It doesn't. When you turn it on, it's not just static and staying there, and just pointing at the horizontal line. When you turn it on, it does something inside that equipment.
I asked the calibration guys, and they told me to keep quiet or they'd have to kill me.
Okay, so yeah, it's a fine. You don't need to know what's happening inside there. I'm just wondering what kind of mechanism it uses.
It just establishes a horizontal.
Just the person who made this, he is using some form of.
I'll check his name.
Instrument.
They have their own stickers for whoever made them.
Yeah, but he's using some kind of instrument to establish where plumb is inside that equipment, where the horizontal line is, automatically without using a spirit level.
Craig Hilton, expert level maker.
I guess you could probably look it up. They probably have some description on it, like in their specifications. If you know what plumb or not what plumb, but what auto level you're using, you can look up the specification, and it maybe lists up the auto leveling method or something.
Have a look. It's called a Datum AL32 XS Turbo.
Is it literally called Turbo? No.
No.
Datum AL42. I did not find anything on it.
32. I didn't put that extra 10 on.
Oh yeah, there I found it.
They're quite accurate. When I went and asked them, I said I want the best.
But I'm gonna look into your equipment here and see what it does.
I want the most accurate one, I said. And that's the one that they said. You can have that. Anybody else feel like injecting anything? Oh, we've been doing this for quite a while. 3.5 hours now for this session. Maybe 2 hours before this.
It's a very bad specification to it. It was just one page. Maybe I'll send them a mail. The spec sheet was just like a selling page.
Yeah, what were you after?
I was just wondering how they level it.
Okay. Look up differential leveling. And try looking up reciprocal leveling as well while you're at it.
He's dropped, Bev.
Oh.